Drivers, start your engine!
Be plenty of carnage, full head on them, wound up, yeehaw, boys. Holy. It's a junkyard. There's too much time hitting people. Chill a second. No gas, gotta hang off here. Don't overdrive. Just let me do my job 10 times. I don't care if I wreck the whole field, I'm over him. He's just a moron. That was an absolute bullshit. Not clear. Awesome. I tell you, Mama ain't raised no. What the f*** are you doing out here? People are saying, just racing like idiots. I don't care. Just let me drive. What is he doing? This is embarrassing. What a clown show.
Did you ever think you would see that?
Hello. Did that just happen? Holy cow! Let's go!
Good evening, folks. How is everyone doing this fine Wednesday? My name is Eric Eastep. Welcome into NWP. I am your host this week, flanked as per usual by the iceberg, Jarrett Lundberg. How you doing, Jarrett?
I'm doing good, about as good as that. And I saw your tweet on it. That one hit that dude on the Astros had last night. Jesus Christ, that was amazing.
Yeah, it made a sound that you don't hear all too often. Although someone sent me a Shohei homer from a few years ago when he played for the Angels. It must be that stadium. I don't know if it's nobody there or what, but the ball just echoes off the bat. Shout out Yordan Alvarez. He's my daddy, your daddy, everyone's daddy. He is the MVP this year. How you doing, Danny B? Danny B Talks is here as well. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I see everyone. I'll just look at my watch here. Yeah, it's 7:01. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, nothing special about that time at all. But it was also another time this weekend, as we all know. Part-time, Heim time, it's all the same thing.
Brick time.
Bricked up at the Brickyard. Corey Heim does it again. 2 wins in his first 15 career Cup Series starts. We'll just start right there. Actually, before we get into that, I want to address the chat. Chat, I see all the clocks. Jarrett was throwing a few of the comments up on the screen here, but I want to acknowledge the chat. Appreciate you all being here tonight, spending some of your Wednesday. We know it's an off week, or we're going into an off weekend, so you don't have to be here. This is your one weekend this summer. You don't really have to think about NASCAR racing. You don't have to have cars going in circles through your mind 24/7, but we appreciate you spending some time with us.
Does that mean we can talk about random stuff like chicken?
We do that anyways, Dan.
I actually just had chicken for dinner before.
Okay, just tell me when it's time for the random SpongeBob quote segment, and I'll be ready.
As you will be. We know that.
That's all
yes,
for every week on here too.
Pretty much. But yeah, we appreciate everyone being here tonight. We have a lot to get into. Let's just begin with the Brickyard 400. Like I said, Corey Heim's second win of the season. He may be part-time, but goodness gracious, he's still a problem for the rest of this NASCAR Cup Series field. 2 wins in his first 15 starts. First driver to do that since the legendary A.J. Foyt. Anytime you're being compared to A.J. Foyt, you are doing something right. Jarrett, your reaction to Heim just doing it again.
He's been impressive all year. Like, this is not an anomaly. This isn't, he lucked into 2 wins. Like, I get the dirty air, and we'll talk about the racing product in a little bit, but he ran really well and fast speeds at Chicagoland. He led a ton of laps at Texas. He's run up front in numerous races this year. Like this, it's not an anomaly. And, you know, we so many times I remember as a kid hearing a driver is the next Jeff Gordon. And then finally Kyle Larson showed up and actually lived up to the hype. And now everyone's like, who is that next Kyle Larson? And plenty of time left for Connor Zilisch, and we'll talk about him later too, ironically enough. But Corey Heim, right off the bat like this, second win as well, being at the Brickyard. Straight to Jeff Gordon, just saying. I mean, it's a long ways to go, but everything he's gotten into, he's been impressive for the equipment he's been in.
He's winning big races, right, Danny? I mean, San Diego and the Brickyard's hard to do much better than that.
Yeah, and you mentioned A.J. Foyt, so I just had to go back and just look at, A.J. Foyt's NASCAR career versus where Corey Heim is. And A.J. Foyt, he never ran full time in NASCAR. He ran very much like at most like 7 races a year in NASCAR. He ran 128 races over 34 years from 1963 to 1997. But it took AJ Foyt 3 seasons to start 15 races. So that was 5 and 63, 6 and 64, and 4 and 65. And in that stretch of 3 seasons, 15 races, he did win 2 races. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say, oh, he's better than AJ Foyt. Well, if he gets more than 7 wins in that category, he's at least better, and he might. But he's fast tracking to be a better comparison right now. We'll just say it. We'll put it like that.
It's just remarkable. Like, I talked to him the other day, and coming into this season, the goal was just to improve on his part-time starts from last year. Finish all the laps, be competitive, learn all that. And then he told me that, though, when he saw Tyler Reddick win 5 races right out the gate, he's like, well, shoot, I may be in the best equipment in the series. We should be running top 5 as well. The goal suddenly went from let's just do better than last year to now let's run top 5. But I don't even think Corey Heim in March and April, thought this was possible. 2 Cup wins in 8 part-time starts this season. It's just remarkable because he's so mature for his age. And I think he's 24 now. He's not this like kid, but we've seen it since he was 20, 21, 22. He just, the way he presents himself, the way he addresses the media, the way he is on TV, he's always kind of just one tone. Like he'll give you like a blunt kind of snarky answer sometime, telling Caden Honeycutt to get thicker skin, told Hocevar to hold that L. This, like, he'll give you some snark.
There's definitely some personality there. You just got to dig it out of him.
But he doesn't seem to get too high or too low, even on the radio. And that's so important when you're a young driver who, is still trying to find their footing, find their place in the top levels of NASCAR. So he's just, he seems like he's the complete package. It's been really impressive to see what he's done. And on that note, he had a moment with Carson Hocevar in this race where after pit cycles, Heim was still ahead of Hocevar. Hocevar on fresh tires trying to make fast lap time. Couldn't get by Corey because it's impossible to pass it, Indy. More on that in a bit. And then after a while, when Heim finally pit, Hocevar flipped him the bird. I don't think we have that the image. We didn't boot that up into the stream beforehand, but y'all can pick. You've seen the clip plenty of times now.
Here, should we reenact it with each other? Come on.
We don't have to do that. We're all friends here. Come on. But that was kind of an example of I think what Hocevar did was harmless. That's him showing some of his personality, his character. But there is a difference between Hocevar getting kind of flustered, Heim focused, smooth and steady all race long. I mean, Jarrett, what did you make of the latest chapter in this budding rivalry?
I think Corey Heim is in Carson Hocevar's head at this point. I feel like so far he's been the only one that has looked Carson in the eye and hasn't blinked. And what I like about this isn't like Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson, for instance, where they're pissed at each other, but one runs 30th and the other runs in the top 10 at the time. This isn't like, Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse, where they're in a fight, but they're not going to run for a win. These two realistically could be racing against each other at the front of the pack for 5, 10, 15 years, hopefully. I mean, they don't like each other. They've made it clear too. And I'll take it because at this point, Heim has him 2-1 in Cup. They've raced each other and gotten into each other for a championship in trucks. And at this point, I think Heim is winning, and that's not something that's been normal for Carson Hocevar in the Cup Series at this point. Like we've said, somebody call him on it. Corey Heim's called him on it, and I really like it. I like both these guys.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like them both, but man, my biggest realization I had after this week is that, man, Corey Heim is everything that Carson wants himself to be. And I'm not saying that Carson's, not a good driver. He's not going to have plenty more wins, but we've seen how many times has Hocevar started up front this season. And I don't just pole. He's started pole a lot, but he's also started top 3, top 5 a lot. Well, let me go pull up this real quick. Let me pull up the point standings real quick. So if he's starting up front so much, why? Well, okay, he's top 5 now. I forgot he moved up, but we've been more like 7th for 8th place most of the year. Why has that been the case? Why is he not getting more wins? Why is he not finishing the job, literally starting on front and letting the biggest rival you've got right now win these races, get ahead of you and win, running a part-time freaking schedule?
Yeah, and I'll give you that. If you're going to argue that Hocevar is envious of Heim, I think the only thing he might be envious of him is the car. I think anyone right now is envious of the 2311, really all the top Toyotas right now. I think it's a little envious because they're clearly the class of the field. But I do like you kind of came to that realization right there. I've seen a lot of banter on socials this week that's like, Heim is absolutely mogging Hocevar, 2-1 wins. He's just like, Hocevar is nowhere close. And I'm like, guys, Carson is 5th in points. You look at the standings, he is
He's
leading
the best
Chevrolet
right now. Let's look at that. Spire is better than Hendrick right now.
Like Carson's having a really good season, which again speaks to your point, Jarrett, that I think when Corey goes full time, we are going to see these guys in the top 5, top 10 together, hopefully week in, week out, and it'll be must see television for many years to come. But I mean, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about Heim Hocevar as the show goes on, but I also want to just talk about Indianapolis Motor Speedway for a few moments. This was the third Brickyard 400 since the brief road course hiatus for a few years now. And I think, wasn't there a stat that the leader has not been passed under green outside of a restart since 2020?
I can go even back further. I believe a stat I saw on Twitter is that the last pass made after 2 laps for the lead into a run at Indianapolis was Kyle Busch in 2017.
That's absurd. That is absurd.
It's
We're
insane.
putting Danny to sleep over here,
guys,
much like Sunday's race.
Pass for the lead, okay?
Yeah, we are.
Well, I mean, to add to that a little bit. So when I got the ticker put together for my post race stream, I put everybody in with 12 to go, and I had to change once, and it was a last lap pass Hocevar made from 11th to 9th. I mean, it wasn't like it was just up front. Nobody could pass. Denny couldn't get past Briscoe. And I put a tweet out, and people were like, don't bring that up, but I think it's worth it. I was there, 2020 Kansas. The end of this race felt just like 2020 Kansas to me. And I get it's Indianapolis. I get that even in the Gen 6, it had its issues as well, pretty bad. But I don't think it's been to this degree through the entire field, maybe ever.
So I'll go ahead and say this. I'll give props again to Corey Heim. He did win the race by what he did on the restart, and that aggressive driving in this kind of race where you can't make those passes. That's how you win a race like this. But my thoughts was I never thought that Bell was going to win that race. I thought it would either be Heim or Logano, because Logano was coming very, very fast, and the only way that Bell was going to get a chance to make a move is if he put a bumper to him, and at those speeds, probably going to wreck both of them. So that's why I thought if anyone's going to win this race besides Heim, it's going to be Logano getting around him when these two wreck each other.
I think that's a fair point. And to Jarrett's point earlier, this has been a years long. I mean, you could go back to the 2000s. NASCAR and Indianapolis have, struggled to find the right recipe. Let's just say it's been tires, it's been aero, it's been long green flags, strung out runs, you name it. This has not been, by and large, a must-see race from a product, from an entertainment standpoint. But you're right. I think it's hit its absolute limit now.
Well, and I will bring up though that, for instance, while it was a restart, I believe it was 2018 with Brad and Denny, 2018, 2019, or somewhere in that range. It was one of those September races that was really weird, where we had a good battle between them towards the end. I saw everybody bringing up the Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick battle, and I think that's a decent point to bring up as well.
To be fair, that was like 20 years ago.
But I will say, I will go a year further. People forget the year before, we had 2 passes for the lead in 1 lap at Indianapolis coming to the finish, because Kyle Busch, Dale Jr. stayed out on 2 tires, while Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, all the rest of them that were really good that day had 4, making their way back up through the pack. 10 laps ago, Kyle Busch is leading. Going through 1 and 2, Dale Jr. takes the lead. Going through 3 and 4, Jimmy Johnson takes the lead. And I only bring this up because, yeah, that's probably how it should go. When you're on really old tires, you should probably get passed by the one with 4 tires. They actually didn't follow that much back because aero back then was still a pretty big issue for that time standards. But I doubt that somebody staying out on 2 fresh tires or getting ahead with 2 fresh tires or staying out gets past that easily being caught by someone with 4 nowadays, unless it's some absurdly different speed because the aero and how close together all these cars are, you can't pass. Indianapolis, it highlights all of the worst traits of this car and vice versa with the car with the track too.
Yeah, because it's a 1-lane track, high speed, and so you can't do anything. This car just doesn't. You can't follow in traffic without getting tight and losing all grip. You can't build any momentum to get that slipstream down the front or back stretch the way Indy car does. It is the worst case scenario for this car, and in many ways, this car then is the worst case scenario for this track. So I'll ask you guys this. There was some discussion, some discourse online over, should they even keep coming back here and racing the oval? Should they go back to the road course? Should they ditch Indy altogether for the time being until the next gen 2.0? Or is there something they can do to the car? Let me phrase it like this. I'll start with you on this, Danny. What would NASCAR, the teams, Goodyear, what would they have to do between now and next July to actually have you be excited for the Brickyard 400 next year? Is there anything?
I think the easy answer is run a different car. Run the O'Reilly Series car. That's about the closest thing I think we're going to get to fixing this, because that's the real problem child. This car races at more traditional banked oval tracks. It does not fare well for a track like this. This track was originally built for, whatever the open wheel cars were over 100 years ago. That's what this place was built for. That's what it's been evolved for. It's been evolved for IndyCar. It's IndyCar's greatest track ever for a reason. And NASCAR has had the privilege of racing there. It would feel wrong to abandon it altogether, because we nearly did that and it didn't feel right. We went to the road course. That didn't feel right either. But
the teams and drivers care too much about this race, I think, for it to be ditched altogether. So that's why I'm like, I get it. I just because I mentioned this on my show, and now there's some news we'll talk about later about the street race, but the Chicago street race. But in my head, I'm like, well, if they did drop Indy next year, here's a natural fit for Chicagoland. It's a couple hours north, another intermediate track. Hey, but no, it wouldn't feel right to bail on Indy altogether. But I just think they got to do something radically different to the car.
IRP makes sense to just take Cup Series there.
Not for Cup. I wouldn't get excited about that either with how the short track.
I kind of miss the O'Reilly Series joining the trucks there, but
yeah. What about you, Jarrett?
I think radical changes, and they can come from any which direction. I mean, what would actually get me excited about Indianapolis is if you told me, hey, well, that's going to be our first race testing the Gen 8 at this point. Like I think this race is still very important. I think it's too important of a race to keep putting on cable every year. I'll say that as well. We'll talk about the ratings in a little bit. But I don't think putting the O'Reilly package on it's going to work either. The O'Reilly race wasn't really all that much to talk about either. In all honesty, none of the races really were this weekend, which kind of sucks going into an off week. But I think we need to have major aero changes. I think there need to be changes under the hood. I think, I think that there needs to be an Indianapolis package. If we're going to do this every year, we need a specific Indianapolis package, because this track is too damn famous to put on this bad of racing. Like, we could put up with it before when there was at least a chance to pass. Yeah. There isn't really anymore. Like I said, with 12 to go, I was like, this race is over. I put in the finishing order and I barely had to change it. On the other end though, I mean, I don't think going back to the road course is the right fit. I mean, if people thought the ratings were bad this year, they'd be way worse on the road course. You could go incredibly radical. And I brought this up in my video, and I would bring this up with you guys that if we can't go every year, what would you guys think of making it a scarcity kind of thing where you go once every 5 or 10 years? You spend all that time getting ready to make the best possible race. The ticket is like, it is literally if I don't make this race, I'm going to have to wait till 2036 kind of thing.
I could be fun at that if we ran it in a good rotation of other tracks that are getting that slot, like go to Road America, do something like that.
I would even say go further than that. Take famous tracks around the world if you have to. I mean, if there's going to be, that's the only way I could get behind this, is if there's any way that you are going to replace this track, it needs to be replaced with something that is big for motorsports. Sure. And that's why I'm saying this is radical. I don't think we should do this. I think again, they need to put the legwork in, take your medicine, as I keep saying, with so many long-term things, and actually have a committed long-term plan of fixing to the best of your ability the racing here. Because I think the teams and drivers, like you said, they deserve to have this important of a race.
Yeah. I don't look forward to this weekend ever anymore, because it's just, it brings out all the negativity there is around this sport, from empty grandstands. Cause you look on TV, it looks terrible on TV. There's no energy from the crowd on TV. I get that there's 70,000 people there and that would sell out North Wilkesboro 3 times. Like, I get that, but it looks awful on TV. There's no energy there. The racing is bad. It's just, I mean, with literally the whole week leading up, you had a little feud between Scott Dixon and the NASCAR world about taking naps. And then we had probably the most nap-worthy race of the season. It's just,
and you had the brick controversy.
The burnout on the bricks. Yeah. It's just, this is such a negative weekend, I feel like, every year. So it's going to take something radical with the car for me to be looking forward to next year's race.
I hate to say this and admit to it, but all Sunday, Claudia and I were out running errands. We were at the Opera Mills Mall, and I kept up with the race just as good from my NASCAR mobile app and a little bit of YouTube TV on my phone as I would have as if I was you guys watching it the entire way, because honestly, I didn't miss hardly much.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong there. You might have missed some of what happened to Hendrick Motorsports, though. It was a disaster.
I saw all that. I still saw all that.
The bow tie brigade. Kyle Larson blows a left rear tire early in the garage. Chase Elliott cleared himself off of Stenhouse's nose, I think, in the garage. I think Bowman was top 20. He carried the banner. William Byron, I don't think I saw him all day. This is the 3rd race in a row Hendrick Motorsports has been completely shut out of the top 10. Now, I'll put a small asterisk. North Wilkesboro, hey, I think 2 or 3 of those guys probably had top 10 cars, and then Bowman messed it up with the timing of that one wreck. So, I'll put a little asterisk. They had decent speed at Wilkesboro, but we mentioned it earlier. Carson Hocevar is the best Chevrolet in the points now. There are no Hendrick cars top 5 in points, only 2 in the top 10.
I'd like to thank all the Hendrick drivers for joining Bowman in solidarity for his announcement by deciding to run just as good as he's been this season.
They all got that 4th Hendrick car set up the last few weeks. No, but I just want to open up the floor real quick, just discuss that. I guess we'll look at the points I know in a bit and can talk about the outlook for their whole season. But gosh, Larson, Elliott, they've been Chase Elliott's usually one of the cleanest, most mistake-free drivers. I can think of 2 or 3 self-spins, crashes over the past summer just alone. Like Michigan wiped out. Was it Atlanta? I think, no, Charlotte, 600, right? Didn't he get loose spin out there? Like, he spun himself out, cleared himself, wrecked 3 or 4 times this summer alone. What is going on over here at HMS, guys?
I believe, let me double check his results recently, but I think he has like 1 top 10 since his win.
Something like that.
Yeah, Nashville. And he wrecked out of that one at the end. He wrecked after the finish. He was in that wreck, that big ass one they had that got Shane to a 5th place finish. Like, I mean, these are his finishes. He was 3rd in the points at the time. He hasn't fallen too far because of a really good start to the year. But his finishes since his win in Texas have been 24th, 37th, 7th, 32nd, 11th, 12th, 17th, 11th, 13th, 17th, 37th. Of course, according to Auto Racing Analytics, we trust him a lot on this. He had a pretty damn good car at North Wilkesboro. And then, Danny's boy had something to do with that one. But that doesn't excuse the other races that he's had these issues in. And Hendrick overall, I feel like every time they catch up a bit, they have kind of a disaster thing happen, or they fall back a little bit. And, you know, this isn't like the old Chase. This isn't like, oh, Jimmy's sandbagging for the last 2 months until the Chase, and then he turns on the Jets because they were testing the whole time. Because, yeah, that's great and all. But with this reset, he's going to be, you know, these guys are going to be 50, 60 points behind from the get-go. And you can only make up 75 points if both of you, the points leader and you, start in a race. So you're starting almost a full race back.
You keep falling back, you're only hurting yourself. And, you know, I hate to keep bringing up chaos, but look who gained 2 spots since Heim won. Basically, no full-time guy got the benefit of the plus 25. Essentially got second place points. Logano, by finishing third, he's gained 2 spots. He's climbing. And you know what little difference it makes, you gaining spots like that is going to be huge, especially if you're gaining momentum and you're getting better as the season progresses. That's what you need to be doing. And that, you know, I'm not saying Logano's going to win, but he might be positioning himself for a run into the top 5 as we get closer to it.
Well, and I made a point after the second race of the year when Larson had that incident at Atlanta, pretty much took himself out, and it was just an avoidable situation. And I was like, this is going to hurt him. And like, you know, you can't have these kind of events. And all I got told on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter was just, oh, you're overreacting. Like, it won't add up. Like, it's just one race. I'm like, well, that one race is the difference between him being what, 8th in points and 5th or 6th in points, depending on where because he was running well. And it's like, these kind of incidents and these kind of problems, this week was not on him, obviously, flat tire, but these things add up. These things add up over the season. And it's the same thing with Elliott self-clearing this week. And I don't care what his fans say, he self-cleared off of Stenhouse. That was not on the 47. Because these guys are better in points, even this year, even with Hendrick being down a little bit, they're better than 6th and 8th in points. Like, they have run top 5 in a lot of races this year. They just don't have the results to show for it.
Yeah, I'm not sticking a fork in anyone yet, other than maybe Byron. I think Byron's, there's no way he's winning the championship. I think he could get top 5 in points, maybe, but like Larson Elliott, very well live.
Is this true from Z Kendall? I believe Bowman had the only top 10 in the last 4 weeks for HMS. That was his 5th place at Chicagoland.
You'd have to go back and look at that race results. Did any of the other guys get a top 10 that day?
It wasn't Elliott and it wasn't Larson because he spun out of 4. So
wasn't Byron up there?
Ran well.
I thought Byron was up front in that race.
Yeah, I thought he led a good amount of that race. He looked like old Byron.
Yeah.
He was third.
Byron was third.
Byron and Bowman,
okay.
But still.
But yeah, I know. I just think, Hendrick, well, you also mentioned Larson. Like, it wasn't his fault this weekend that they had the tire issue, but you could argue it was the team's fault with the air pressures pushing something. Maybe they've miscalculated. So they're just out of whack right now. They're not crazy far off. Like, again, Wilkesboro, they had speed. Before this slump, Larson was top 5, like 4 or 5 races in a row. So they're not far off. They're just not as far along as we thought. I think we all assumed they'd get better as the year went on, as they wrapped their arms around the new body a bit better, but
Hendrick better be working in his off week and not sitting around eating Doritos.
I bet they are. I bet they are. Yeah. I bet you Jeff Gordon's in there with them and everything. And Chad announced all of them.
Yeah, real quick, pulling all-nighters like they're back in college or something. Real quick before we move on, just a few more shout-outs. We kind of glossed over, but Christopher Bell with his 6th second-place finish of the season. He did say after this was a good second place, because I don't think he had a second-place car most of the afternoon, so he'll take that. Danny mentioned Logano 3rd. More on that in a moment. Hamlin and Briscoe and Hamlin 4th and 5th. Want to mention the RFK guys here. Keselowski 6th, Preece 8th. Ryan Preece had a shot maybe at restarting on the front row late, but they took 4 tires instead. Bold call, didn't pan out. Also Josh Berry 7th. Just want to give him a shout out. First top 10 in a minute. And then I guess that was it. Cole Custer 13th. I'll give him some credit. You don't see him in the top 15 very often.
Well, give a shout out to the what I call him since the sponsor, the grillionaire, the grillonaire.
Yeah. Before we do the points, how about the $1 million man himself, Todd Gilliland, gets the best of Ryan Blaney, who got caught up in that Nemechek incident. Happy for Todd. Get us some pickle. We need some pickle emojis in the chat.
Yes. Yeah, let's drop pickle from the chat.
Gilly for the Millie.
I think
Gilly
there's
for
a
the
pickle,
Millie.
emoji. I'm not sure.
I want to bring up too, with the in-season challenge, because there's a lot of talk, I think, about that and like, oh, like we're still pushing that and blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it's fun. It's nothing for points. It gives some of these guys some extra airtime that, let's be honest, in the middle of the summer, they're not going to get at that point. And it wasn't like it was shoved down our throats this year. Like they talked about it more this week and last week, but the first 3 races, like, watching back on the broadcast, they bring it up a little bit or it pops up on a graphic, but it was not overbearing like the year before. So like I don't see the problem with it. I don't get the complaining about it because in all honesty, I think it's a fun thing. You pick your bracket, you see it get busted immediately the first week. I mean, at least this year, one of my picks to make it to the final round actually made it with Ryan Blaney. He didn't win.
Yeah. No, but he got close. He was still, even despite the wreck, was only 2 positions off. I thought I saw a stat. I'd have to look it up, but Todd Gilliland, I think, wins the in-season challenge despite a best finish of 16th during the round. Can someone please fact check if that is correct? That's absurd.
I think that is true. I mean, it was funny because like my uncle texted me and he's like, man, if I would have put like some money on Gilliland, I could have been a billionaire after this because nobody was picking him.
He could be partying on a yacht with Todd Gilliland this weekend.
It's funny how close these two finished in both last year and this year. Because last year they were respectively 6th and 7th, and then this year they were 24th and 26th.
I know. I thought it would be an actual like competitive fight between these two, and it was at the end. Again, they were close on track, but I thought they'd bring better stuff. I know like Gilliland was on pit road for like a lap in stage 1 or stage 2, making massive adjustments. So they did not have it to start with, at least. But yes, congratulations to Todd Gilliland. That's pretty cool. Appreciate all the pickles chat. Some of y'all don't need to keep it in your pants though. Come on now. This is a family show. Let's talk about the points here real quick. We've alluded to it a few times. Quick look at the top 12. 4 drivers are now locked in: Hamlin, Reddick, Blaney, and Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, shout out, had the most stage points Sunday afternoon, so good result there for him as well. Mentioned Hocevar moving into 5th. It is tight though. 5th on through about 10th. I mean, Hocevar down to Bell, separated by 29 points. That's it. With 4 races to go, yes, that could change quite a bit in a short period of time. Gentlemen, any names that you're keeping an eye on these next few weeks, at least on this chart?
Gibbs.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep
he's going to be fast in these flat short tracks. I want to see if he can close the gap.
Well, I keep saying like I want to see more. Like I would feel really comfortable about saying he's a championship contender if he got another win. 1, he'd gain a ton of points on Blaney, but 2, like he won at Bristol. It's in the chase. It's one of his best. I think it is his best track, honestly, speed wise. But I want to see him do it somewhere else, and I think he has the speed to do it. I think he is improved enough as a driver to do it. It's just a matter of if they can. He's always. Is it just me, or is he always like 3rd to 7th every week in the running order?
And that's what you need to be in the position he's in. That's why he is there. But need to see him push that and start leading as many laps as Denny Hamlin, contending for more wins. If there's any driver who's going to break the string of Austin Dillon at Richmond, it might be Ty Gibbs.
I want to give credit to 2 guys who they're the silent killers on this list, and that's Chris Buescher and Daniel Suarez. Buescher is 9th, Suarez 11th. We talked about them here and there this season. They've both been real solid overall. Suarez got that win in the Coke 600, Rain Shore, all that good stuff. But I feel like we haven't talked about them much lately. I know Daniel started 2nd at Indy, but was basically a non-factor the rest of the day. So that the fact that they've held on to 9th and 11th respectively, I would have thought that, Logano or Bubba or someone would have gotten up onto this graphic and maybe surpassed those guys. Byron, I thought he'd be past these guys at this point, but they haven't. Buescher, Suarez holding strong. They're not championship contenders, but if they get in the top 10 when it's all said and done, if they're top 10 in points at the end of November, that's a really impressive season for those 2. So I just wanted to spotlight them real quick.
Let me put it like this for Daniel Suarez. This is just what he's kind of sandwiched in between right now where he sits. Let's talk about stage points first. 9th place, Buescher, 94 stage points. 10th place, Christopher Bell, 132. 12th place, William Byron, 103. 13th place, Joey Logano, 104. And there he is getting it done right there with only 74 stage points. Top 10s, he's sandwiched between 10 top 10s, 10 top 10s, 9 top 10s, 8 top 10s, and there he is with only 6 top 10s this season.
Yeah. They're just not making too many mistakes, you know.
He's 11,
taking
and
the
that
14.
might be because his average spot is about 11.
Yeah. Well, we can flip over to the Chase cut line if we want to take a look at that now, because that's where things get real spicy. 4 races to go. I think Danny mentioned earlier, Joey Logano has gained a few spots. He's up to 13th now, plus 65. Bubba Wallace still kind of teetering, like I've been saying for weeks now. He's in a good spot, not a great spot. He's plus 60. SVG plus 57, Cindric plus 38. Ryan Preece is the first driver out now. Eric Jones drops to 18th. Bad Brad is 19th, minus 50. I know we do this like every week, guys, but do you see the top 16 holding serve? Who's most likely to surpass one of these guys on the cut line? What do you think?
I think we're looking at our chase grid right now, and we're getting to the point where Ryan Preece, man, you're 38 back. You can't cry about those 25 you lost anymore, because you're back more than 25 at this point. So that means you've done this to yourself now too.
Well, and maybe I'll eat these words because he's still within a race, but with how bad Eric Jones and Legacy are at these shorter flat tracks, like I just don't see it. I mean, Eric Jones himself had said so, and Denny Hamlin talked a bit about it. Brad and that RFK team, I mean, they finished well and they still don't make up that many points. So I feel like it's up to Ryan Preece versus Cindric or Van Gisbergen. And I really think that Preece has to score a top 5. Like, there needs to be a top 5 scored at some point, and there hasn't been. And even top 16, I don't think you're Chase caliber if you can't score better than 6th at any point during the season.
Yeah, and Ryan Preece, 0 top 5s this year.
And if I'm thinking about Austin Cindric, who's there the last car in, just being honest, the next 4 races, Iowa, Richmond, New Hampshire, I think a Penske car is very capable of winning that race. I think it could be Logano, it could be Blaney, and likewise, I think that they could get all 3 of their cars up to top 10 speed. I think Cindric could potentially be looking at a top 10 or 2 in the next 4 races. He's won Daytona before. You know, there's a chance that, you know, he's going to do fine, and, you know, they're not going to be able to catch him there at the bottom.
Yeah, I look at this and I say Austin Cindric is probably safer than Shane Van Gisbergen and Bubba Wallace, to be honest, just because of how good his car will probably be at those tracks, like Danny said. And Shane's had some great great short track runs this year, but you just never know.
I'd say I agree. I think Shane is safer than Bubba, though. And a lot of it's because I think that Shane can make a difference in these shorter tracks, that even if Trackhouse doesn't show up with top 15 speed, he's really excelled at these. And at that point, with Bubba Wallace as well,
Bubba has issues on those flat tracks. I don't like him having to race aggressive at Daytona. That screams I'm causing the big one.
Well, and he's again a gravitational pull to this cut line. It doesn't matter how well he starts or how bad he starts. He's always on this graphic. Doesn't even matter the format. He's always on this graphic.
And he was literally up there in the top 2 to start the season for a few weeks.
I'm with you there. I feel better about Bubba than I do Shane. It's part of that is I just do not trust Trackhouse. And Toyota at Richmond, they often run well. I'm hoping some of that carries over to 2311, but hey, just keep an eye on Ryan Preece. He is a good short track racer, but to Jared's point, he needs to run top 5 at least once.
I have a feeling in 2 weeks, Logano won't even be on that graphic no more. I think Byron will be on that graphic.
I would agree with you there. I think so too. Gentlemen, let's talk numbers. TV ratings for TNT's The Brickyard 400. It was a 1.34 rating, 2.38 million viewers tuned in Sunday. It's up 8% in rating, but down 3% in viewership. So I don't really know. I guess the right people were watching.
No, so it basically
who
means
is the right people?
The amount of people watching was lower than usual. So more people were watching compared of like the overall kind of,
they had a higher percentage of the share at that.
Yeah.
I forget what the exact word is called. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. More people, though, I guess, were out and about enjoying the sun instead of sitting on their couch watching TV. This was TNT's final race of this block. I guess any quick thoughts just on their second season? I feel like
I enjoyed it more this year than last year, I think.
Yeah, I still put them as number 4 out of the 5 broadcasters for the top 3 series, but they are much closer, in my opinion, to NBC and CW than they were a year ago. And it's clear there's been real work done to improve. And I'm actually excited to see where year 3 goes.
Adding Marty Smith to the lineup for TNT was very refreshing, was very good. I would love if Prime could get him with their crew as well. I mean, they basically use the same crew for most. Well, I don't want to say the whole crew, the same on-air talents. I would love to see more of Marty Smith doing NASCAR. As much as I love what he does with ESPN and SEC college football, man, he got to start in NASCAR stuff, and it feels like he belongs there. I don't know if there's a way to get his colleague Ryan McGee involved in some way, but that would be very nice as well.
I'll say this, I kind of agree with Napa Racing Fan that some of the Where's Mamba segments felt a little too early 2020s Fox for I mean, I get that it was a stage caution. There's plenty of time to pad, but watching him try to hit golf balls across the ravine, I don't know.
That was
You brought it up in our chat, Eric. It reminded us of Rutledge Wood getting pushed as thirder and thirder away from racetrack repetitively every week until finally he was away from racetracks altogether.
Yeah, when they cut to Mamba and he was well outside of the turn 2 grandstands, I thought are they just slowly kicking him out? What is going on here? I felt kind of bad for him.
They're sending him to find Rutledge and Kelly Stavist and all the other lost motorsport reporters. We don't know where they went.
Vince Welsh hiding in a bush somewhere. Yeah,
the wheel.
But I agree. And I saw a lot of folks in the chat were kind of saying B-, B+, B, a lot of B's for TNT's production. I think that's fair. O'Reilly series race, we'll talk about that in a moment, but the ratings were good. 1.25 million viewers, up 13% year over year. It was the highest watched Indy race for the O'Reilly series since 2022. I wanted to, I guess we can bring this up here. I guess I could have tied into the last conversation. I'm a little out of order here. Apologies. But Carson Hocevar, I'm sure you guys saw his sort of rant, his multi-platform rant. I saw posts on Instagram, Twitter, he might have talked about it on stream. I don't know. But he had a lot to say about modern day NASCAR broadcast compared to, he was watching the 2000 Talladega race. He had that flipped on his grandparents or parents' TV. That was wherever that was. And he was making some comparisons about just how much better the production, the energy, the everything was in 2000 compared to now. He went on to talk also just about, the racing, the cars, how much NASCAR has changed over the years, but he really harped on TV and how he's tired of telling, I guess, his new NASCAR fan friends, oh, you got to come to a race to understand it. He said he's tired of using that line. So where do you guys come down on this? Because I know we've all had that conversation with folks in our day-to-day lives as well. I'm sure it's on TV, it looks like they're just turning left. But if you go to a race, oh, you'll be blown away. So what's your take on that, Jarrett?
Man, it's about time that somebody of actual popularity and influence in the sport talked about this and didn't just brush it off. There's so many times you'll hear people call in on the radio or they'll talk on Twitter and they get called keyboard warriors. They get shot down. There's all of these, they have producers go after them. Shout out D Good and 24 on that one, where they bring up actual points of hey, maybe don't go to commercial with 9 laps to go at Talladega. Hey, maybe we shouldn't do X, Y, and Z stupid thing. And over and over again, we basically get treated like we're a bunch of idiot children who don't know what we're talking about, and less people watch. So it's about damn time that somebody who they can't shut up said it. That's my thought on it.
That's actually a great point, because there are some things Carson said that I didn't even fully agree with. He almost made it sound like he was advocating for simpler, almost more dumbed down broadcasts. He said, oh, casuals don't care about aero. They don't care about tire wear. They don't care about horsepower. And I'm like, well, that doesn't mean those things don't matter. And I think it's fine for the broadcasters to talk about those.
But-
So I didn't fully agree with it.
They shouldn't be big talking points at the finish like on Sunday. When we were talking aero every other lap on Sunday, and Junior at one point is just like, I think it's over, guys. Like,
okay, well, yeah,
that should not be something we hear about. And so I get that criticism of like the car and stuff like that. But I agree with you that I think that still, I think going in depth needs to still be talked about a lot, like you said. But
yeah,
I mean, like, how many of those old races at the finish should you ever hear being like, the arrow is doing this, this, and this, and then arrow this, arrow that. Like they talked about it during the race even back then. I mean, back then it was arrow push was the big talking point. I remember because anytime Benny Parsons brought it up, Wally Dellenbach was about to repeat the same damn word back to him and say a different way of what he just said. Like it wasn't perfect by any means, but I get what he's meaning by, at least what I think he's meaning by it. But yeah,
I watched the end. I didn't catch the line, Junior. I know they do that sometimes, or like DW used to do that back in the day. Like I think it's over. I think he's got him. He was
always wrong.
Well, yeah, but I noticed a couple times Dale and Letarte were like they kept pointing out how this big slide out of Heim, like I felt like they were actually doing as good a job as they could to enhance the action, to actually make it sound like something might happen. Like actually, I thought they were kind of going out of their way to even tease us a little more than I thought was realistic. So I don't know. But I agree with your first point. Like we've all talked on this show plenty of times about the problems we have with some of NASCAR's broadcast partners and their choices and the lack of evolution over the years. We've all ranted on Twitter, and there are other podcasts who have touched on these topics as well. But for an active driver, arguably the most influential, maybe outside of Denny Hamlin right now in the Cup Series garage that folks our age are listening to have him come out and just no filter, let her rip. I respect that. I do, even though I don't fully agree with how he put everything. I'm like, hey, his heart's in the right place. I'm tired of a lot of these same things as well. So for him to kind of just let him have it, you're right. You're not really going to shut him up. He's not afraid. He's going to say what's on his mind and say it with his whole chest. So, I mean, kudos to Carson, at least in that regard. Finally, it's time for the iceberg poll. Before we move off the Cup race, Jarrett had 10,000 fans vote on his poll this week. Was the Brickyard 400 a good race? 7% of y'all voted, yeah, it was great, buddy. I loved it. Loved every second of it. I'm putting some words in your mouths. I apologize. 20% said it was a good race. 37% said it was average. 36% said no, this was not a good race. So that is a 27% positivity rating. 36% negative. Jarrett, you got more details, more comments for us?
Yeah, I got details and comments. First off, this is the lowest rated Brickyard of the poll of the 5 Brickyards we polled. It was also much lower than the road course as well. 24th of 24 polled races this year too. It was the 10th lowest net positivity we've ever had at 27% and the 9th highest net negativity ever. Tied for 9th, but it wasn't good. Spencer had the first comment, positive, negative, or meme. What do you guys think?
Negative.
Yeah, it's negative. I'm agreeing with Eric.
Heim, about to pit. Hocevar unlapping himself. Hey, Corey, you're number 1.
That's a meme.
That was much more of a meme than I expected. Well played.
Napa Racing Fan had the top comment, says Dale Jr. on Hocevar flipping off Heim. That wasn't the international signal. That was the international signal for thank you, buddy. Row 9 Ride says this comment has been arrow blocked.
Brutal.
Jamarcus says someone check John Hunter Nemechek's DraftKings account. What an idiot when he ran it in on Blaney there.
And Denny Hamlin did not cut him a break on actions detrimental this week, I noticed as well. Because to be fair, Denny was leading when that caution happened. So
Aod said, not going to lie, I fell asleep during stage 2. And our buddy Elite Precision said, was at the race. And on the way home, me and my brother agreed to never attend another Brickyard 400 until they fixed the racing there.
I mean, I don't blame you. I'd be in the same boat. I have no interest in going until there's a radical aero car change. Yeah.
I might want to go once just to see it in person and like be like, I went, but I have I have no urge to go there for the competition.
Yeah.
It's just because it's Indy.
I went there. I went to the 400 when I was 9 years old, so I guess I've ticked that box. But if I hadn't, sure, maybe there'd be a part of me that'd be like, "Let's go see it. Let's go see the 400."
The gutter comment was from Kevin, who said this about the voting: bunch of salty Larson fans. I don't think it's just Larson fans.
You're just rage baiting Larson fans trying to get that reaction at that point.
I agree. Well, thank you everyone for voting on the famous iceberg poll. If you're not already subscribed to the iceberg, you can click his name down in the description. Subscribe now. You'll see the poll hopefully in your feed immediately following every NASCAR Cup Series race. But gentlemen, that's enough Cup talk for the time being. How about we talk a little O'Reilly and trucks? We'll start with the O'Reilly Series race. Shout out Carson Kvapil. First career win. It was a big night for the Kvapils because I think his brother won a late model race like a few hours later. So pretty epic time for that household, I suppose. A JRM 1, 2, 3, 4 finish. I believe I saw that as the first 1, 2, 3, 4 finish for any team in O'Reilly Series history. That was a little surprising because there's been 5 JRM cars in the field for quite some time. JGR car, but great for them. Kudos to them. It's the kind of season they are having right now. Danny, I'll start with you. Kvapil's first win. Yeah.
I was just going to say, felt very similar to, ironically, Hendrick when they had the first 1, 2, 3, 4 finish at Dover when this guy Bowman won it there a couple years ago. No, it's really cool that Carson Kvapil finally able to break through and get that win. And I mean, I honestly forgot that he hadn't won when he was coming into it. I was like, I feel like he should have won by now, but no, I think it's just because I'm so used to, the one car being competitive. Connor Zilish hopping in here and there. Other people have hopped into it, and what a statement for him, because he was originally not going to get to run full time for JRM this season. It's going to be in a situation kind of like Raja Karuf where he's having to jump around the rides. I think he only had to drive the 91 one time this season. Is that
Maybe
it?
once or twice.
Anyway, they made it work out to get him into the 9 car, for much of the other races. So they found the funding somehow to keep him in JRM equipment, and good for him to kind of break through and show what he can do. Although as much as it was good to see him win, you naughty first time winner, you can't be burning out on the bricks.
Yeah.
I don't even think he realized that where he was at when he did the little spin around. I think he was thinking he was probably more in front of it or behind it, he didn't realize he was crossing it while still laying rubber.
Side note, on Sunday when Corey Heim was doing his celebration, he started doing his burnout. It was like watching like an old cartoon character tied to the train tracks, because I saw the bricks, the one shot TNT had, you could see the bricks in the distance, and he's just getting closer. And I'm sitting like, no, someone stop that train. And then Corey, because of course he is, he's Corey Heim. He's like wise beyond his years. He like did a little like burnout, little skid right before the bricks, timed it perfectly. I was like, so, I just didn't want to have that conversation 2 days in a row.
Back in the EA Sports video games days, whenever I'd do a career mode, I would win the Brickyard 400. Before I'm a kid, I don't even know that this is the thing. I literally thought it was fun to just doing the burnout, go up and park it, and just burn it down right at the finish line.
Dang, so disrespectful. Anyway, yeah, sorry, Carson Kvapil, he did it. He apologized. Whoops, I don't know. Maybe that's
kid getting his first win. I mean, the conversation I think jumped the shark this past weekend. Like on one end, like I do think a lot of NASCAR people are a little bit, I don't know if arrogant's the right word, but just too, like callous about it, where it's been a big point. On the other end, some of the IndyCar people have jumped the shark and like, how horrible a person he is. And it's like, no, he's a kid that got his first win. He unplugged his helmet. Like, yeah, if you gotta put like a ribbon in front of the finish line after the race, they got a minute and a half before you get back there. So like, just put something, like if it's that important, at the end of the day, we're gonna forget about it in a week.
Yeah, I do feel like it's become enough of a talking point the last few years now. I forget I feel like there was a driver who did it. When was the year our friend David Land really got on somebody for it? This was 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Oh, I don't man, it might have been longer.
Maybe longer than that. I remember David made it, and I remember thinking like, what? Because I never really thought of that as being like such a sacred thing. But then I'm like, no, you know what? I get it. Like they're right to be a little frustrated. I feel like at this point now, it's such a thing. It should just be, hopefully, even if
Am I mistaken, or did Kyle Busch even do it one time
He
in
did.
that series?
I could
He
see Kyle
did.
Busch doing it intentionally out of
Think-
just to be him.
I think Jimmy did it one of his, and and actually the track fined him for it. Like I think the track actually will
What?
fine you for it.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's been a point for years. Like my thing is, at the end of the day, we're still, in my opinion, guests in somebody else's house here. Play by their rules.
Yeah,
it might be dumb to NASCAR fans, but it's still an important piece of history. And to be fair, like those are bricks that are taken from the original over 100 years ago Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So it's like, might as well just play by the rules. Let's not make a big deal out of it.
This might be who David Land took offense with. I'm looking up how many NASCAR drivers have done burnouts on Indy's bricks, and at the bottom of it says others mentioned track officials have also expressed displeasure towards drivers like Justin Allgaier for similar celebratory attempts. So maybe he did it, but it brings up notable burnouts on the bricks: Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, and Carson Quaffle. So maybe it was Allgaier that David Land.
That's a good group of drivers to be lumped in with if you're Carson Quaffle. That's one way to look at it. I'm next to Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch. Yeah.
He has a hell of a good talent, though. Like it wasn't shown this week. I'm not crazy about the package, but like he has been there all year.
Show the points, because I said on this show maybe 2 weeks ago, I'm like, hey, Carson Quaffle, he was 5th, I think, at the time. I'm like, he in that one car with Rodney Childers, let's see what he could do. Boom. 2nd in points by a slim margin over Jesse Love. But yeah, no, this kid, like Justin Allgaier is the title favorite, no doubt. But like, if he has a fault, if he falters here or there, I like what I'm seeing from Carson Quaffle. He made a deep playoff run under the old format last year. Jared, is there anyone else on this list that stands out, or more Carson Quaffle comments?
Winless Jesse Love, and he's a lame duck heading in as well. That's
yeah.
I feel like Richard Childress Racing would be the worst team on the planet, not just in NASCAR, in general, to be a lame duck at, because the timing, it could never be worse for any of these things. Maybe if Quaffle starts getting like a big push, he could be. I don't see anyone outside that could challenge Allgaier with what they've shown so far. I've seen flashes, but can they do that for 9 races? I don't know if any of these guys can.
No, I think Allgaier is the heavy favorite. He has to be. I mean, we spent this whole segment talking about how great Carson Quaffle is, big win, all that. Allgaier finished 2nd. Like, even when he's not the story, he's still finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th. He's just in the mix every week.
Clinched the 1 seed for like a month already.
Ridiculous. The cut line's a bit more interesting, though. Parker Retzlaff, 9th, plus 59. You feel pretty good about where he's at. Sam Mayer, though, 10th, plus 29. Getting into the danger zone. Brent Cruz is 13 above. Taylor Gray, 7 above. And then it's William Sawalich, Raja Caruth, 20 points back.
Hot take.
Yeah.
Sam Mayer's the one that's, of the guys 12th on up, is most likely, in my opinion, to drop out. I know he's not as close, but that he is a magnet for DNFs, whether it's his fault or not. I think he has 6 on the year. And if he can't run, if he does not run well at Iowa, and the only race left that he has to lock himself into is Daytona. I mean, we were talking about Bubba Wallace making a bad move at Daytona, and he's been a really good super speedway driver. Sam Mayer being desperate. Oh my God. I might as well just park myself 10 seconds behind the pack and I'll be safer.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, of those 4 guys just above the cut line, just barely in, I agree. I trust Sam Mayer probably the least for all the reasons you just listed. But Taylor Gray is only 7 points above the cut line. Mayer's 22 points ahead of him. So just that slim margin, I'm still a little nervous for Gray and Cruz. I mean, look, there's the 3 young JGR guys on top of each other practically for the final 2 transfer spots. It's going to get dicey. I think Iowa is definitely, like, that is going to be a pivotal race, especially for those 3 Toyotas, I'd say.
How many points up of the cut line do you need to be to feel safe heading into Daytona?
I don't know, 30. I'd feel pretty good if I'm 30.
Okay, because I think Parker will be above that line, but I don't think any of these other guys will, unless Brent Cruz gets a win.
Yeah.
Just my 2 cents on it.
If I had a nickel. Gentlemen, let's talk trucks. We'll wrap up with the truck series. And I've kind of been putting this one off because like I watched the whole race Friday night at IRP. I don't remember a single thing that happened. I remember Lane Riggs dominated.
Look at the top line I put into the itinerary from the race. That's all you really need to know.
Oh, yeah. No, Lane Riggs, 198 laps led. I think his teammate Chandler Smith led the other 2. So it was a front row freight train at the front of the field. That's all I got. I mean, Lane Riggs he's been the best guy in the truck series this year. I don't think it's really been that close. Like I will say, I do remember Caden Honeycutt. I do remember looking up a few times and being like, why is Caden Honeycutt not running second or third? That's a concern to me. That is concerning that he is not running. I mean, he finished where did he finish? Seventh.
That's
concerning to me that Caden Honeycutt did not run top 5.
He shouldn't have been 7th. He should have been outside the top 10 because the only reason he finished 7th is because he came down pit road because he had an extra set of tires to put on the truck. He still could only make up 4 spots on that restart and that whole last run. I for a team that, in my opinion, is probably with the 34 as the most well-rounded one out there, that's pathetic. And I will say one person I want to give props to, though, is Connor Mosak. He has been lights out good in his few starts. I did the math on it, and I think he would be something like 5th or 6th in the point standings if you extrapolate what he's done part-time to a full season. Get him a full ride for next year. I get him a competitive full-time ride next year, and I think he's a championship contender. I will go that far.
It could be. But I'd like to know what tracks he's run because I think they put him out there at a lot of road courses, and I know he is a pretty good road course racer. So that road could courses be skewing the data.
Road courses and short tracks, but he's also been in an Aspire truck, which generally has held a lot of drivers back that aren't Carson Hocevar. So I feel like you can definitely take which ways you want to go with the results, though.
Yeah. Here are the points. I don't even know how many races are left in their regular season. Just 2. Thank you, Jarrett. It's all Lane Riggs up front. Honeycutt a distant second. Chandler Smith, more on him in a bit, is up to 3rd or holding on to 3rd. Eckes 4th. Ruggiero 5th. Ty Majeski 6th. I think we can just go to the cut line. Let's see what's going on up there because the top 5, 6 have not changed much. Rhodes, Enfinger, Hemrick, Stuart Friesen holding on to the final spot by 8 points over Tyler Ankrum. That's distant to Jake Garcia, Andres Perez, and so on. Gosh, those Ram trucks. I was really hoping Brendan Queen would eat into that deficit this weekend. Yeah, just didn't.
We're not going to see a Ram make the chase this year. Really, 12th on back doesn't have a chance. It's either between Ankrum or Friesen here for the final spot.
I'd say Hemrick. I would add to that too because he's a magnet to that line. And Enfinger, he just needs one good run in these next 2 races. There's Richmond and New Hampshire. I feel like those are tracks that should be good for him. Yeah, he just needs one good race. Yeah, him and Rhodes, one good race, and I think they're good to go because they don't have a Daytona coming up. It's short ovals.
Good point.
And props to Ankrum. Y'all mocked me for picking him. He got a top 10 last week, and that was what he did.
9th?
Yeah, he finished. You had the 2nd pick, Danny. You can't pick the 9th place guy with the 2nd pick.
Hey, I mean, like I said, he should have finished ahead of Honeycutt. He should have.
Sure.
So good on it, but still, yeah. That still baffled me. That was a surprising pick.
He's got a good history on short tracks, so that's why I felt better about it.
Yeah, well, like you said, he was due. He'll actually be due in about 4 years. I think the IRP race 4 years from now, I would absolutely pick Tyler Ankrum. I think he's due to win that one.
So 2030. All right.
A lot of folks in the chat talking about Ram. Oh yeah, I forgot. I do have a prediction.
No glory, Ram.
I know I have a prediction that's going to come off the board. I think I predicted they'd win 3 or 4 races this year. Ram would. That was a horrible prediction. I was hoping they'd have new trucks that would actually be good by now, but I guess not. I guess they're still running whatever sloppy seconds they bought in the off season, but they've been.
I mean,
terrible.
You technically can't have that one come off the board until there's literally 2 races left in the season. So
there's still a chance, but
you and me have one apiece. I have one still on the board that Ram would win 2 or more truck races this year. Ooh.
And what mine was like 3 or 4, right?
Let's
I don't know if you have it in front of you. I
see.
swear I had one that said that because I was like, Justin Haley's gonna be great. Then they put Corey
Justin
LaJoie.
Haley
Yep.
will win a super speedway race in 2026 for Ram. You got one to go.
I mean, you got one shot at Talladega for that to happen.
Okay, that's actually not an
That's
insane
more realistic.
prediction. That's not an insane prediction, but yeah, it's still.
We
not
usually
looking
see a
great.
random person win that fall Talladega race. I feel like.
You know what was
Yeah.
disappointing about Brendan Queen is he was actually really fast in practice. Like he led a good majority of the practice session and had like a good 5-10 lap average, and then just laid a freaking egg during the race. Like the whole team did. I mean, I want to see in the field here. What was the highest finishing of them? Haley in 18th, Butterbean in 20th. Corey LaJoie in 24th. That's cup material right there. Mini Tyrell 27th. If he has a ride next year, I'll be surprised because like he's been especially bad. Like it's just, but hey, you know what? Doesn't Timmy Hill now have a Ram? They've been saved.
Like Denny Hamlin said on his show this week, if they weren't bright yellow, I don't think we'd ever see those Ram trucks on Fridays and Saturdays. They have not been relevant this season.
Side note, I hate the fact that their color is yellow and they sponsor so much. Because every time you look up at the screen, you always think there's a caution coming out because it's just showing yellow Ram up there.
Ram and the Liberty Bibberty ads, those bright yellow decals trip me up.
Question for you guys. Can you guys guess? Without looking at standings, can you guys guess who is the best driver of the 25 Ramming points and who is the worst driver of 25 Ramming points?
Dario Franchitti?
Oh, he's at 25. Yeah. I don't know.
Was he the highest?
Where did Jamie McMurray
multiple races?
It's not Dario Franchitti.
Is it Newman? No, there's no way.
It's not Newman.
Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, it might be.
He didn't drive that.
No, he drove the one. Now he drove the one truck. It's
see, that's the thing. I don't even know who freaking ran it because they're irrelevant.
I was like, oh yeah, Jimmy was up front in that race, and I was like, no, he's in the one. Hold on.
Boyer wrecked out.
I don't know. It's somebody who's run it multiple times. Is Kligerman run it multiple times? Did LaJoie? I don't remember.
The best driver of the 25 Ram that I'm seeing in standings has ran it 2 times, none other than Colin Braun in 35th point.
He ran it at St. Petersburg, right? Didn't he run it there once?
Yeah.
He's run more than one race, right?
As for the worst driver, do you guys know who that is?
Tony Stewart.
Was it Tony? He got wrecked.
Correct.
Oh, I got it. Let's go.
All right. Well,
the Tony one was a bit easier because he
playing
got
random Ram driver of the week, everybody.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Indianapolis, both the Motor Speedway and the Raceway Park. Now it's time for our first Super Chat stage break. Really appreciate your support. We're going to try to get through a good chunk of these right here before we get into our slam-packed second half. We'll start off with Joshua Boston. Came out swinging here. Said that the TNT Groovy Gauge segment averaged a 69% on my post-race show. Called it a D+. That's a little better than a D+. D+ sounds terrible. 69 is actually above average. Says also, we need to stay at Indy, but I do have to echo Eric's sentiment. There should probably be an Indy-only package to make the Brickyard 400 great. They just got to do something to the cars to get me at all interested in next year's race. Says championship hangovers, Larson and Hendrick 2026. Yeah, hard to argue with that. Then says the Nashville Karens are desperate to either misinform the public intentionally or just kill off racing for good at the fairgrounds. Despicable. Jared, I know you have more on that in the second half of the show. So Joshua Boston, I hope you're still here. Stay tuned. Also says, I'm disappointed Heim will run the 35 next year, but I get it. The 6-7 meme really put a bad taste in everyone's mouths. Yeah. What didn't he say that it's like he thinks it's a goofy number or something like that? I don't know. Then two more from Joshua Boston. I think it feels right for Jimmy Johnson to have the 48 in his final Cup start. Wouldn't be surprised if Bowman runs the 25 in next year's Daytona 500. I've seen some theorize he could run the 55 because that's like his sprint car number, which that'd be kind of cool.
Some even 46 could be filming something for Days of Thunder too.
Oh, I like that theory too. That was a good theory. Was that Harris Lou had that theory on Twitter? I thought that was
A few
pretty.
people have ran at that one.
Okay, I like that one. I hope that one sticks. And then finally from Joshua Boston, I hope Larson can use this off week to regroup and get back to winning consistently. The 5-team needs, in my opinion, a Tony Stewart 2011 chase run to salvage their season. If he wins 5 of the last 10, he very well could win the whole thing. So that would be a quite the resurgence. A few more here. Jeffrey King says, hot take, Reddick will fall below Blaney and Gibbs before the chase begins. I think he's about 40 to 50 points up, 4 races to go. We'll see. That's a tall order. A couple from Calypso says, I see that doing the gaslighting for us says, I see the likes on this stream has been low as of late. Perhaps your viewers are not as loyal as you think. If you wish to prove me wrong, all podcast streams from today to the end of the year must get 250 likes an episode, fail, and you can say goodbye. Cover your ears, gentlemen, to the Nashville Fairgrounds. Calypso has too much power. But yeah, hit the like button.
Now you're taking it too far.
Hit the like button to save short track racing or something, I guess. Jeffrey King says, Eric, thanks for holding Hendrick accountable in your power rankings. Yeah, spoiler alert, for the first time ever, I did not have a Hendrick car ranked in my top 10. I was literally going through it and I'm like, wow, I don't think there's a place for him. I was like, this is a rough stretch. Few more here. Napa racing fan, NASCAR fans on Indy. I hate the oval. Let's run the road course. I hate road courses. Go back to the oval. The oval sucks. Road course was more interesting. I hate turning right. Go back to the. Yeah, it's just a vicious cycle. Yeah, that about sums up.
Let's just run it counterclockwise.
Mofo says, for those who are saying Indy has always been a bad NASCAR track, please watch 04 to 07. Each of those races had drivers charged through the field to contend for wins. Then says Jeff Gordon charged from 11th to 1st in 30 laps during the 2004 Brickyard 400. Smoke won the 05 400 despite starting 22nd. JJ overcame a flat tire mid-race 06 to win his first. Yeah, I think, again, that is 20 years ago. I think the race car and aerodynamics have evolved quite a bit since then, but it would be nice to go back to a somewhat simpler time when, they could race a little bit. They actually could race in the corners. All right, I will wrap up with, I guess these final two, just to kind of end it on a round number here. Honda Tech Tip says, no Angels hate will be tolerated. Please, Eric, out here in my semi in Cali. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take a shot at the Angels Stadium earlier. I actually like the Angels okay. I feel kind of bad for them sometimes. They're like the little brother to the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers. So, yeah, no, kudos to the Angels. I hope you guys have that turn it around here at some point. And finally from Jay, Denny's pod being very informative this week. Sounds like Heim to the 35 officially. I'd preferred the 01 over 67 if he did the trend. We just talked about that. I think 35, at least it's already kind of got a brand at 2311. They don't have to reprint a bunch of things, so that's good. Appreciate the super chats, ladies and gentlemen. We will get to the rest of them at the end of the show, so please stay tuned. But we have so much to get to in the next hour plus, including, can you feel it in the air, gentlemen? It's time for the lightning round.
Yeah,
Jarrett,
I feel my hair standing up from all the electricity.
Take it away, my friend.
Yeah, we actually have a little more hefty lightning round. So, of course, is the NWP Clips channel that we will actually be doing our Q&A stream on next Monday.
Yes.
Probably. I don't think we actually agreed to a start time. I think we'll just do the normal start time.
Do normal 8 Eastern, something like that.
And it's not like a Q&A super chat thing. It's just show up in the chat and chill. It's linked down below as well. So subscribe to if you haven't already, and we'll do special little deals on that and stuff like that. Let's see. We also have Ryan Preece, from what Brad Kozlowski said, is going to officially be returning in 2027, even with the uncertainty around the charter. Jimmy Johnson, we talked about earlier, running his stylized 48 in the Daytona 500. So we'll see what number Bowman has next. Chandler Smith is leaving Front Row next year. He is expected to sign the O'Reilly Series team for RCR. And rumor is he might not be the last one at Front Row who is leaving after this year. So interesting there. NASCAR is returning again to St. Pete, March 6th with the trucks. Hopefully they either get the right amount of laps or start the race a little earlier so it doesn't go as long, or I don't know, just crazy thought. Maybe they move the top 2 series to Vegas so the O'Reilly race can be a night race and we don't have to worry about overlap like with COTA this year. Just an idea.
Oh, yeah.
NASCAR 26's gameplay trailer has been released today. And then speaking of fun stuff with iRacing, we finally have a date nailed down and everything ready to go for the NWP 400, the sixth consecutive, sixth annual, sixth running, you name it. Will be run on Friday, August 21st, with the duels being run that Monday, August 17th, this all being on the IDK Player YouTube channel. The entry form should be out either within this week or at the latest by the start of next week. And we'll be promoting it on our X accounts, on here, all over the place. So who knows? I mean, there's a realistic shot, talking to John about it, knowing where stuff's going with him, and he's okay with me saying it. Realistic shot, this might not just be the last NWP 400. It could be the last e-ticket. We don't know. I mean, they could come back next year. It couldn't. So you're definitely going to have to watch for sure on that one.
All good things come to an end. Is this the end? We don't know yet.
We don't know.
Go out with a bang.
Future's uncertain, so be sure to watch in case it is the last. We'll be, I'll be commentating it with John. These two will be in the chat, perusing around, talking to all of y'all.
Perusing.
It should be a good show. And speaking of good shows, next week, August 5th, as Minnie Berg is very happy watching Sesame Street.
I heard that.
We'll be on Danny's channel, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So, God, guys, we're in August, man. We're in August. Oh,
not for another week. Don't jump the gun too quick. Time is short enough as is.
Fair.
Claudia's birth month. She turns another year older on August 12th.
All right.
Which means that's a Wednesday. I will not be on that episode. Sorry, guys.
Are we all reaching the point now where we're all just celebrating our 29th birthday every year?
We've topped out.
I know 20s. I'm turning 29 this year. When I heard everyone is 29 on down. That's just how old everybody is. That's what I've heard.
I was 29 2 years ago. I'm 31 this year.
Danny, you've been 29 for 3 years. Good job, man.
Danny, you're lying to us. No way.
You're 29.
Well, that was the lightning round. Appreciate you all sheltering in place with us. That's it. That's the right phrasing. Danny, you may want to cover your ears for this next one, although I think you know what's coming. It's time for our headlines. Let's start with the big news. This is a few days old, but we haven't had a chance to discuss it as a group here. On
literally dropped the day after NWP.
Gather around, class. We have something to discuss here. Alex Bowman will retire from NASCAR Cup Series racing at the end of next season. So he has signed a 1-year extension to stay in the Hendrick 48 next year, and then he will step away following that. Said during the announcement that, this isn't just a health-related thing. In fact, for years, he's always kind of sort of planned on stepping away around this time, mid-30s. He has other things he wants to do in life, but he also admits that the injuries have added up. They have taken a toll on him, so he wants to enjoy life. He said he's excited to just be a regular person here in the not so distant future, but he's back for one more year. Danny, you are our resident Alex Bowman fan. You've been supporting him basically since he took over the then 88, now 48. So how does this make you feel knowing you got about a year and a half left of old AB in the 48?
Well, I guess he didn't confirm this. I feel like had the Vertigo thing not happened this year, there's probably a good chance this year could have been the final year. I like that it's worked out from all parties that he gets to have one more full-time go at it, just to see how he'd do, and one more full-time season. Just try it out. Just see how the final year goes. And I'm looking forward to going to as many races as I can. I'll be going to Kansas this year, planning to go down to Homestead, maybe Bristol. Think about going over to that one. So I'll at least get maybe 2 to 3 more chances to see him this year. I don't know about next year. I don't know what the year comes and or what next year is going to look like. But I'll say this: I'm happy he's going out on what appears to be his terms. Sounds like this is completely his decision that he's had for a while, and I respect it. And I put out a video yesterday. If you guys want to hear my full detailed, thoughts on it. It was about 13 minutes long. I sat down and talked about it yesterday. Yes, I did start rooting for Alex Bowman at the end of 2017 when it was announced that he would be taking over the 88 for Dale Earnhardt Jr. At the time, I wasn't even on YouTube yet. I wanted to have a driver to keep rooting for, and through 2016, I liked what I saw when he was filling in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. I felt like, okay, here's a driver. He's similar in age to me. I got a lot of potential in this guy. I have a driver that I can root for, similar age to me, root for a while, not knowing, hey, the guy's going to retire in 10 years, dude. You really sure about this? Wouldn't make no sense in 2018 to tell me, hey, this guy's going to retire at 34 years old. But of course, now here we are. As things have progressed with me, and we've all evolved our YouTube presence, our media roles, whatever we want to call ourselves. I'm very happy to say, with him stepping away, I can finally be like you guys and not be an objective person with this, because I have made a decision. Hey, when he steps away, I'll not be finding a new favorite. That's it for me. Going out with Bowman, there's no new favorites. There are guys that I'm going to like, but I'm not going to necessarily say like, oh, that's my guy. There's a lot of things I like about a Carson Hocevar. There's a lot of things I like about a Ty Gibbs. There's a lot of things I like about a Connor Zilish, but I'm not going to be, a fan of blank driver. This is where it ends.
Wow. And I know that feels like that's a decision. I know that's something that happened to me in my NASCAR fandom. There was never going to be anyone who replaced Matt Kenseth when he stepped away. I feel like there's a lot of fans out there that can relate to that. It sometimes is hard to find your next favorite driver after your main man eventually hangs it up. I know a lot of fans watching at home, I bet in the chat, can relate to, now they have 3 or 4 guys they root for, teams maybe they root for. So it's interesting how this sport's different in that regard. Like the New York Yankees are always the New York Yankees, but in NASCAR, 10, 15, 20 years, that's the shelf life if you're lucky.
I see someone, Duke Chronic, saying you can pick a driver. I've seen people in my comment section. You can still find someone. That's the thing, guys. It's irresponsible for me to have a favorite. I just came into this role with a favorite already, so that was kind of just baked into it already. As when I started NWP Talks, it was a fan-driven hobby of mine. It's evolved heavily over time, and it would be the right thing for me to not have a favorite no more, being with the opportunities that I have, and that's more responsible of me. I wasn't just going to be like, oh, well, if I want to do this, I just got to drop Bowman. Screw you, buddy. I don't like you no more. No, I'm not going to do that. But now that this change is happening, it's more responsible and better for me to cover the sport in this way.
That makes sense. Now I just wonder who's going to be your suck pick every week, because it's always Alex Bowman. That's the real question.
Is Cole Custer going to still be here?
Jared, I'll turn to you real quick. Just Bowman's legacy, 8 wins up to this point in this is his 9th year, I think, full-time at Hendrick. 8 wins. He's had some good playoff runs, obviously the injuries. Like, how are you going to look back, assuming he kind of just rides it out from here? He might have another win or 2 in him. That'd be awesome. But assuming this is kind of it, how do you look back at Alex Bowman's journey, his career?
I think for me, I'm going to see him as a success story. You saw the lower end rides he was in early on. He caught the eye of Dale Jr. I mean, if Dale Jr. doesn't notice him, he probably never gets up into that role. They probably go after whoever after 2017 was going to be a big free agent. That's probably who they go after.
For about a week, I thought maybe Matt Kenseth would be in that seat.
I mean,
as a stopgap.
Remember, even back then, there were rumors of Kevin Harvick going over there, and and the 5 and everything around, and all of that craziness. But I think of him as a success story. I think of him also as a driver who is going to be a what could have been, because he had a 4-win season in 2021. He was really good early on. I believe was it 2022 where he was leading the points early on in the year? 2023 where he had the injuries.
I think 2023 was the year 3 was the year he was leading the points early on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was leading the points early on and had the injury. And I think it's going to be a what could have been. Do I think he ever would have ended up winning a championship? I personally don't think so. But do I think that he could have been somebody that would have, gotten a top 5 finish or 2 in the points? Yeah, I do. I thought very, very highly of him. And it seemed like, especially the first half of his tenure before the injury started to pile up, he was steadily improving each year before that breakout season. And the team seemed to have been clicking before his injury. So
let's not forget 2021, fluky as some of it might have been. He wins 4 races. 2020, dominated Auto Club Speedway and then went on to nearly be in the Final Four that season. He finished sixth in the points that year.
Yeah, I mean, he was hot at the end of the year. So I think a success story that could have been even greater is how I'm going to remember him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the grit and determination to grind it out, obviously come up through dirt racing and the lower ranks of NASCAR, but yeah, to kind of stick it out in the Cup Series, not great opportunities to get that Hendrick to take a chance on himself first as a sim driver, get those substitution roles. That Phoenix 2016 race at the end of the year, he ran so well, led a bunch of laps, was a victim of the Kenseth Busch restart wreck at the end, but had a great run there, turned heads, took a chance on himself and made the most of it. I agree. I think he's a great story because he didn't, this is not the kind of guy you expect to vault up the ladder and race for Hendrick for 10 years. It's just, that's not what you expect, but he did it and won some big races in the process.
As Peter said, fired in a Taco Bell drive-thru at one point.
Yeah. It was not always glamorous. That's the thing, has never been glamorous for Bowman. And I think that's the other thing is like Alex Bowman has never been this like pompous, overconfident character. If anything, he's almost been too hard on himself. But I think you can interpret that as just being humble, humility, and that's something a lot of his fans, I think, always resonated with. So
here he is.
Another win. That'd be great.
Here he is now with 8 wins in his career. It would be amazing if he could at least finish with double digit. And I think it's possible. They could even try to find a way to, if they really time it right, they can get him a win this season even.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm hoping he gets at least one more win. 2 would be amazing. But hopefully he has a solid, complete final season in 2027. Gentlemen,
I don't know, before we move on, sorry. I keep, we brought up the fact that he was the sim guy there at Hendrick. I guess it sounds like there's still some work he wants to do on the side with Hendrick when he's done racing. I don't know if sim guy is one of those roles he can kind of go back to, which would be awesome if he has a lot of real-time seat experience with him already too.
It could be. Yeah, he does sound like he's going to continue to be involved at Hendrick at some capacity, but I don't know. I don't even think he fully knows the extent of that yet, but he'll hopefully still be around. Yeah, no, hopefully Alex has a strong final season. But like I said, we do have to look towards the future. We now know there is a deadline on Alex's career, 2028 and beyond. Who goes to the 48? A Hendrick Motorsports opening doesn't come around every year. Doesn't even come around every few years necessarily. Connor Zilic, according to The Athletic's Jordan Bianchi, Fox Sports' Bob Pockrass, is the most likely candidate for that seat. I know Justin Marks of Trackhouse has been asked about it, and he kind of, he dances around the topic, but it honestly sounds like potentially Hendrick could get a deal done sooner rather than later for 2028. How do you feel about this, Dan? You said you liked it. You like it, I assume, for Zilic, of course, right? I mean, anything's got to be better than how he's running right now.
I like this idea because I do see a lot of potential in Connor. I really do. I don't see a lot of potential in future with Trackhouse as a Chevy team. Here's what I see about 2028. We'll see what happens with Colleague and Dodge maybe next year. I really like the idea of Dodge swinging for the fences and getting Trackhouse involved as well by 2028. But if that happens, I think Connor's camp wants to stay with Chevrolet, and that's where I think Hendrick comes into play. I like the idea of Connor going to Hendrick. We actually kind of, I don't want to say retire. We just stop using the 48 for a while because it was more Jimmy's number anyways. But let Connor keep driving the 88, bring it back over. They've got the Hendrick 88 font already existing. Put Connor in the 88 instead.
So I'd say stick with the 48 personally. Like same with the 24. I mean, it's just there's such iconic Hendrick numbers marketing wise. I think it'd make more sense. But
and I'm not saying retire to 48 for Bowman. No, that's stupid. I mean, I think Bowman should have just stayed in the 88 altogether, honestly.
But I think for Connor, this makes sense. I think Bowman giving Hendrick the extra year gives them an extra year to get this 48 team at least on the same page with the rest of them because the whole team is off. But with Bob and Bianchi being the ones that are bringing this up. Like, I'm thinking this is probably done soon. Jordan even alluded to on the teardown this week that there's a Bianchi bomb coming sometime at the end of this week, whether it's that or something else, who knows? But it could be that. I think the big question is Trackhouse. All of their current drivers are not signed on past next year, and they are running pretty damn awful. Ross seems completely fed up, and I would not be surprised if there was an opening at a top level team or a better team than Trackhouse, that they wouldn't move a lot of things around to try and get somebody like Shane, who is clearly improving. I mean, he's taking these Trackhouse cars to more than likely a chase spot, and maybe not even the worst chase spot either, when they have no business being there. Ross is battling for the top 20 when more than likely Trackhouse has no business being in the top 20. I think the reason Connor is struggling is the inexperience factor. That's the alarm bell that should be ringing, in my opinion.
What about this? What if, I know everyone wants to point to Brent Cruz, but what if Ross Chastain is an option to replace Denny Hamlin? The irony of that.
I mean, the irony would be great. They put so much effort into Brent Cruz, and Brent is actually delivering. Like, I feel like that's.
But how many times have we seen this before with JGR, where they want to take advantage of a veteran's opportunity more so than the young guy?
Yeah.
They've also done that with
Carl Kenseth. I don't know.
They've also done that with the young guy. They've done that the young guy before, though, when you look at like Christopher Bell versus Eric Jones. So it's like it can go both ways.
I think the point you started to get to there, Jarrett, is like how quickly things have turned at Trackhouse. I mean, 4 years ago, they were a championship contender in one of their first years with Ross Chastain, finished second in the points. Even last year, they won 5 or 6. How many races did SVG win? 5? I know they're all road races, but he won like 5 races. Ross had a win last year. The year before that, Suarez had a win. Like, this is a team that has won multiple races a year, variety of tracks, variety of drivers. Ross Chastain on the up and up. He gets Busch Beer as a sponsor, SVG, Zilich, Red Bull, Connor tearing it up in O'Reilly. This team has been just like, oh my God. And to your point, the way contracts are lined up, the lack of speed, lack of performance, the uncertainty regarding their future, it's like, could it all come crashing down in 12 months? Like, where is this team going to be in 12 months? They may need they lost Ty Norris, who was a big part of their business on the back end a couple of years back, and I don't feel like that's helped them any. So it's just like Trackhouse may need to completely transform, like you're saying, maybe an OEM swap.
I think going to Dodge makes a lot of sense for Trackhouse.
A new alliance. Yeah, it's like at some point, what do they have to lose? If they lose Zilich, they might lose Ross. Like, what do they have to lose?
I'll raise another point for the silly season side of things too. With Corey Heim going to Cup next year, Bubba Wallace is far and away the worst driver, probably at least ceiling wise, for 2311.
Yeah,
he's running around that middle again. There really hasn't been much improvement. I know he's pretty good for marketing, but 2311 signed sponsors for everybody. They're selling everybody there. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, doesn't matter who walks through the door, and the ones that you can't sell already have sponsorship.
Ross is going to bring Busch with him no matter what, because I think that was them wanting to go to Chastain after Harvick retired more so than going to Trackhouse.
I was thinking, like, what if somebody like them takes a chance on a Ross Chastain? What if, Aspire with Michael McDowell maybe retiring, or knowing how they just ditch people if they're not running to their standard, goes after. I think moving Ross over there with Hocevar, I think is an interesting one, because they've buddied up before. But with Suarez, I don't know if you want to shake up that hornet's nest. What if you make an effort to get Corey Day in the 71, or if that doesn't work, you get Shane in the 71. I would think a 71 team for Spire would be better with Shane than Michael McDowell. And I like Michael McDowell. Yeah. I think that would be a better team than the 97 team currently is. Next year could be way more wild than this year was planning to be.
Like, I get that. It sounds like Zilich to the 48 is probably going to happen, and I think it does make sense. I think Connor is way more potential, more talent than he's shown this year. So I think that makes total sense. Hendrick wanting another young guy they can build around for 15, 20 years. All makes sense. I get it. Mm-hmm. But, like, I think Ross Chastain might be a better driver than Connor Zilich, and he's still not that old. He could give you 10 great years. Like, we came into this year saying Trackhouse has their dream lineup. It's not been a dream season, but to that point, like, I think we all look at SVG and say he's better at this point than we thought he'd be all around. I think Ross Chastain has done enough before this year to show he's a real contender who can win races despite not being in the best situation. Like, if I'm Hendrick, I don't know. I know they know he had the talk with Ross a few years back, but like, I feel like Ross Chastain to Hendrick would be epic. Like, that would be an instant hit, is the way I view it. Whereas Zilich, it's going to still be another year or two potentially. Anyway, there's always a chance he just never figure. I think he's too good for that. I think he will figure it out. There have been some great prospects that never hit their ceiling, so you just never know.
But this Hendrick Motorsports, the juice is worth the squeeze, even if it doesn't work.
But Ross is I think Ross Chastain is a champion in a Hendrick car. I think he is. And Zilich is one day.
I think Zilich is a contender. I'm not going to say he would be a champion. He'll be a contender.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying like he has I think he'd be a top 6 guy in a Hendrick car.
I also kind of like people asking about this. We don't know how locked in Austin Cindric truly is with Penske long term. Yeah, Penske's also a place I could look at for Ross. I mean, hey, something about alcohol on a 2-car, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know.
Blue Deuce rides again.
I just look at it and say, yeah, Zilich to the 48 is probably going to happen. Makes sense. You really will get no concerns from me. I just look at, like you're saying, Ross, SVG, and if it turns into a fire sale at Trackhouse more or less, and all their star drivers end up elsewhere, that would hurt so bad for Justin Marks.
Someone we're forgetting in all of this, guys. The Corey Day factor. I think he still needs a little bit more time in the O'Reilly series, and I don't know if by 2028 if he is ready. Maybe he is. I don't know, but he's also someone I would look at him to go to Spire at least for a little bit. If he's going to go to the Cup Series, maybe he's the eventual third driver there. I think Corey Day does eventually find a spot at Hendrick, and it might be Larson fans cover your ears. Larson is signed through 2031. He'll be 39 years old. My hot take here, Larson, although 39 is close to 40, I think he'll be also like Bowman. I think he'll step away from the sport earlier than people realize because he'll have a lot of other things in dirt that he wants to accomplish and do before he gets too old.
He has alluded to it before. He's alluded to it a little bit before of wanting to do dirt before his prime is over.
He signed that 5-year extension through 2031. I mean, I know it's a little bit of a waiting game for Corey Day to wait with Spire, but it seems like he's always been handpicked to be the Larson replacement.
He'd only be 25 at that point, still pretty young.
Jeez,
go ahead, Garrett.
That's insane. I didn't realize they're getting younger and younger, man. But yeah, I mean that, and the thing with Zilich is that they can give him a 3 or 4 year runway, and if it doesn't work, Corey Day can be right there if he pans out. But they've done this before, where drivers have struggled off the bat. Looking at William Byron, and it worked out pretty damn well in the long term too. So I mean, regardless of what they do, like I think Hendrick will come out on top because Hendrick has all of the options of Chevrolet to give them. And let's be honest, if a big free agent pops out there, like let's just say, I don't know, a lot can change in 3 years. Like, are you telling me if Ryan Blaney's a free agent that Hendrick doesn't drop everything and go for him if Zilich isn't working? And like, I get Corey Day is there, but Ryan Blaney's really freaking good. Like, I'm not saying that would happen, but just there's so many moving factors that like I believe that 48 team in 2 years will be winning races again.
But that's part of why, like to your point, everyone's 2-3 year deals mostly nowadays. That's why I'm like, if I'm Hendrick, you got your pick. There's some, again, kind of veteran drivers like a Ross Chastain. Go get him for 2 or 3 years. And if he fails after 2 or 3 years, I'd be surprised. But if that happens, I'll bet Zilich's next deal is up. Go get him then when he's a little more, primed and ready to rip. I don't know. I get why they want Zilich right off the bat. I think Connor's incredible. I think he's going to do amazing things in this sport, but I don't think he's going to do amazing things in the next 2 years. And so that's why I'm like, you could go get there's a couple guys out there might be available who could get you back on the map right off the bat. And that's why I'd be surprised if they didn't even at least consider some of these other names, but I guess they want Zilich.
Timing wise, it would be good for Hendrick because we start to see some of these younger guys really start to get it figured out by year 3. Hocevar year 3, Chase Elliott year 3, Kyle Larson year 3,
Yeah, I guess that's true. It'll be
yeah.
year 3 for Zilich by that point. That's a good point. So yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I really have no concern, complaint. I just am like you said, Jarrett, Hendrick can kind of pick whoever they want. So it's like, if you really can pick whoever you want now and in 5 years, maybe take the guy who's a little more race ready. That's
Jeff
my
just
only.
Jeff just likes the idea of a Red Bull 48 car.
I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Fun conversation. Appreciate everyone playing along with us there, entertaining our wildest thoughts and speculations. Let's talk schedule for a moment. Jordan Bianchi of The Athletic reported this weekend that the Clash is moving back to Daytona next year. It'll be the Saturday night, the week before the Daytona 500, the Saturday night before the Super Bowl. So it'll be February 13th.
Super Bowl.
How do y'all feel about this? Because I'm mixed. I think if the changes to the car here in a few weeks improve the racing significantly, great. If the changes they might make during the offseason improve the drafting package significantly, awesome. But if it's going to look the same as it's looked the last few years at Daytona, then I'm not a fan of this. I don't need another Daytona gridlock race in my life. But I don't know how y'all feel. Do you have a different take on this?
I'm optimistic. NASCAR has a pretty good track record of when they actually put work into the super speedway package, it usually improves. They're pretty good at figuring a lot of that side of it out. So I like this. I mean, you're going to have 2 big data points with Daytona, and I'm assuming Talladega would be the same one unless it's a complete disaster at Daytona. So you have 2 big data points there. You work the entire offseason, the direction. It sounds like Denny Hamlin is like really, really working with NASCAR on this and what he thinks would work. You test it all out at probably the 1st or 2nd week of January. It might be a quick turnaround, but if they have an idea, it sounds like where they want to go to begin with, they can probably work towards it. So, and on top of that, it's a big promo for the Daytona 500. It's probably going to be the only thing sports-wise anyone's going to be talking about on Super Bowl weekend outside of it. So, like, you know, it'll be on in sports bars, things like that.
The Puppy Bowl, come on now.
Yeah,
That's
no, that's the next day. So at least there's not the competition with it, because Puppy Bowl would probably win.
Puppy Bowl.
But the other
God
big
help
thing
us if
for
it
me-
rains though, and then we got to delay that thing to Super Bowl Sunday.
It'll get delayed to Monday. There's no way. That or like 8 a.m. like they did that Winn-Dixie 250 that one year. But the other thing I really like about this is you have a close data point that NASCAR can make tweaks for the Daytona 500. So even if it's not perfect, we've seen NASCAR do this in speed weeks before where they've made tweaks that end up working for the better. So there's so many data points, not just for this, but then for the 500, that maybe we can actually get a good 500 that people really like outside of just the 500 hype.
I really, really like this move in terms of the return to normalcy, if you will. And I just saw someone say this in chat. Yes, this means Speed Weeks with an S is back officially then by doing this. Just give me a starting lineup determined by whatever bottle you pull out. Let's do it like that. Come on, bring it back.
I have a hot take.
Sorry, before you give your hot take.
Yeah.
Just one more thing. No, I really like the idea of it being the day before the Daytona 500. I remember 2011, how exciting that was. Seeing a race of completely craziness, two-car tandems. They were hitting speeds of like 211, 212 in a race. It was insane to watch that on TV, and then being excited for. I think it's back when they still qualified on the Super Bowl Sunday, like early in the day.
Super Bowl wasn't that Sunday back then. It was the week before.
I thought the Super Bowl was.
There was 2. The old meme was Dale Earnhardt saying Super Bowl that means 2 weeks till Daytona. No.
I swear I thought that was the same day as Super Bowl when they ran that Bud shootout. I don't know.
So my hot take, not even really a hot take. I'm just something I'm going to throw out there. So them moving the Clash back to Daytona, and I have a feeling the all-star race is either going to be North Wilkesboro or it's going to be one of those other SMI tracks, Dover, New Hampshire, Nashville, whatever. Does this mean the stadium race experiment was a total failure? And that includes Bowman Gray. Because, I mean, remember 3-4 years ago when they were at the Coliseum, we're like, dang, this is kind of cool. Maybe they can bring this to name city, insert city with a stadium here. Does this mean that was a failure?
A failure to be consistent at the same stadium, maybe, but a failure of a concept, I don't think so.
Well, I think it's not a failure of concept. It's a failure in where you ran it and when you ran it. And it's just more running stadium races in the middle of February. It locks you down to a very select amount. And on top of that, you're whittled down even more because a lot of those stadiums you could run in maybe that are modern could have NFL playoff teams, and you don't have that quick turnaround like the Coliseum. I don't necessarily think it's a complete failure. My hot take is you got to freaking pick a lane. It's either we're doing stadium racing or we're going back to Daytona, but NASCAR can't keep constantly changing everything. If you're going to revert back and do speed weeks, you can't just go and make it a rotation like is being talked about by Bianchi, which I get NASCAR's idea with that, but you got to pick something because we can't do this every year where it's like, oh, this year we're in Daytona and it's Speed Weeks is back. And then the next year we're going to do random stadium in Arizona and that's going to be a week before the Super Bowl. We need consistency. If you look at all motorsports and sport leagues and when they are either really good in ratings, attendance, when they've peaked at times, one of the big things that every one of them has is consistency, and you can't keep messing with the start of the season. It has to be the same thing. You got to try and build on it, make something out of it, because we can't have big events, big starts to things, or big pieces of the season if we constantly keep changing them every step of the way.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I do think establishing traditions, NASCAR fans love their traditions, which, I mean, I totally get it. And I think consistently interrupting that or almost teasing the fan base with, here's that thing back. Oh, just kidding. It wasn't quite as successful as we thought it would be. We're going to, because there's a great chance the clash at Daytona next year is half full at best. And it's just kind of there. And it's, it's going to feel kind of like it did in the 2010s. That's very possible. Could be lackluster, but anyway.
The stadium race concept, it's really fun. I enjoyed my one time going to the Clash at the LA Memorial Coliseum, and there are a lot of amazing stadiums that I think it would be very, very cool to see NASCAR run a race at, like particularly a lot of college football stadiums that host 100,000 plus fans. Neyland Stadium, the Big House, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, tons of amazing college football facilities that would host a lot of fans, as long as enough would actually show up. I don't know if that would be the hard thing, but I mean, we Tennessee Vols played at Bristol Motor Speedway. Could a NASCAR race happen at Neyland Stadium? It would be something very cool in concept. And I think the only place to really feasibly put that in, if we're going to go Daytona Clash, is maybe it'd be better to go to Dover. I mean, maybe that's the All-Star race. You do something fun like that. But we got to take it to more than the same stadium every year. That's the same thing I do. My same take about street courses, that should rotate to multiple cities every year. That concept should, think of it like the Savannah Bananas. They are selling out all these college football stadiums. I saw them at Neyland Stadium. They've gone to every single one there is in the country this year because they're an appeal. Well, it'd get boring if we saw Savannah Bananas playing at Kyle Field and College Station every single week.
Either that or do some grassroots actual short track racing and go to short track racing where
New Smyrna or something like near Daytona Beach. For
that could work. Yeah. I mean, there's so many you could do, but just pick a lane.
That was my point. Not when I asked if it was a failure. Like, no, the concept succeeded. They raced in stadiums. Like, I don't think any of us thought that would be as smooth as it was. They did a very good job. So that the proof of concept was a success. I just mean, like, they did it for 5 years, 3 in LA, 2 in Bowman Gray. And now, at least for the foreseeable future, I don't see them doing it again, at least for a couple of years, I would imagine. No. So in that regard, I'm like, oh, kind of hyped up this new concept. We can take it anywhere. And we may not do it again for a while. They may bring it back at some point. Your point, Jared, about the weather, February, your hands are tied. If they could find a way to make it like the All-Star race slot, get that from SMI or get SMI on board, then maybe it works out. I don't know. Like Daytona, I'm happy for it. If it's a good race, I'm happy for it because I do like that tradition returning, and I do think it supports the Daytona 500 better than those other stadium races did. So that part's all great. I just worry if the racing sucks like it has the last couple of years at Daytona, it's going to really sting. And then I'm going to be like, damn, we abandoned this concept that had so many possibilities. That's the way I feel.
If it's on Big Fox, though, I'm betting you it's going to get more viewers than any of the others outside of maybe the LA Coliseum. Like,
it'll be better than Bowman Gray probably in terms of viewership. That's probably true. Well, we need to move on. I'm sorry, guys. We've had a lot still to get to. Jared, I'll give you the floor on this one. It was brought up in the chat earlier, but Nashville Fairgrounds, I know there's some new stuff going on there. Do you want to give us just kind of the rundown on what's happening at your home track?
Yeah, me and Danny's. It's a lot of stressing back and forth. The big thing is the anti-fairgrounds, anti-racing side now has to get, I believe that the goalposts keep changing. Some say 55,000, others say 40,000. They have to get a shit ton of signatures basically to put it on the ballot to have a referendum to take the Nashville Fairgrounds protections that it currently has in the city's charter agreement off. And right now, the big part of that and the ballot taking and this petition signed is that they've been caught basically red-handed by the local News 5, not one, the people getting the signatures, not knowing what they're talking about, but also blatantly lying, saying that NASCAR is already going to demolish the track, so we might as well get rid of it. NASCAR is not making money on it, which no shit, they don't race there. And it's a lot of that back and forth, a lot of legal stuff. Their original petition they were going to put out got thrown out in court actually a few months ago because of how intentionally vague it was. And they're doing it all under the guise of affordable housing, which, Danny, you said best before the show. Affordable housing in Nashville. That's funny. That doesn't exist.
That doesn't belong in the same sentence with each other.
No. And so it's more of this back and forth. There's been a lot of connections between John Ingram, the owner of the soccer stadium next door, as well as Vanderbilt University and some of the lawyers, as well as Ingram's very interesting donations right before different polls around the area are done, showing no, all of a sudden everyone hates racing and loves soccer more, and this is why we need to get rid of racing. And it's just a giant cluster truck at this point. And that's really the biggest update. And it's just more, we got to fight the good fight, keep getting the truth out there, because so far from what I've been able to tell and what a lot of people have from the objective side in the middle, from like the local media that does the investigative journalism have shown, from the looks of it, SMI and the NASCAR side have basically been playing by the books, whereas the others are going to the gutters for their battle. That's kind of what we got.
I'll put it like this. If the Karens with a C get their way, there's going to be more cars than ever at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, because it won't be the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. It'll be the Nashville Fairgrounds parking garage and entertainment district. Maybe some apartments will go up. I don't see this being for affordable housing in the slightest.
Well,
yeah.
Appreciate you sharing the latest, Jarrett. Like you said, keep up the good fight. Keep short track racing there in downtown Nashville. It's an awesome racetrack. Would hate to see anything happen to it. So hope momentum starts to build back the positive direction in favor of continued racing on well into the future. We've got two more headlines that I think we can get through pretty quickly. So, gentlemen, you've probably seen this debate over the last few days. This topic continues to linger. It started, really, I feel like it started maybe when Scott Dixon made his comment last week about how cup races, it's a good time to take a nap. Kind of started there. Kyle Larson said in the media center this weekend, cup races are too long. Jeff Gluck of The Athletic kind of echoed those comments. Denny Hamlin on his show talked about it as well, said, yeah, some cup races are too long. Ben Kennedy even mentioned how, like, those old longer race links used to be like 500-mile Texas races, 500-mile Pocono races. That was a different era. So there just sort of seems to be this air in this noise in the air about NASCAR races are too long. And I think everyone, or at least some folks, kind of disagree on how to shorten Cup races. I think some suggest, we don't need as many 400 or 500 mile races. I don't think anyone's really suggesting you mess with Daytona or the Southern 500 or the 600 or anything like that. But other races, okay, maybe. Where I come down on this is there are things within the race you can do to gain a few minutes here and there, namely stage yellows. We talked about eliminating them altogether, talked about finding ways to shave a lap off here or there, like at Indy especially. And some of it was, caution, a real caution came out 5 laps before the stage break. They couldn't get back going. So it turned into like a 25 minute dragged out period. Some of those long breaks, just absolutely brutal. If there's a way to speed up that process, I get that TV needs their commercials, but if we could speed that up, that could be a great way to get those race lengths down a little bit to a more manageable level. NASCAR's Mike Ford acknowledged this on Hauler Talk this week, said that is something. Stage lengths are something that NASCAR is looking at. But I guess I'll turn it over to you. Shorter races, longer races. Do you think NASCAR has it about right currently? What do you think, Danny? I guess I'll start with you.
I mean, it's hard to say. Some could argue that NWP is too long, but it doesn't stop us from going for 2 hours even on a bye week.
The show might be a little long tonight. To be fair, I might need to cut the super chat stage break. No,
I'm just messing with y'all. No, I maybe I'm wrong. I think it's about right personally, but I think there are, like you said, there are things that we can do during the race itself that could speed things up a little bit. Maybe, well, sometimes the start time is a big thing that we could make things go a little bit smoother. We don't have to pace the field for 10 laps all the time now, do we? We don't got to wait forever to actually roll them off pit road after they started their engines. There's a few things we could go to get this thing, moving a little bit quicker, to get us going in the right direction. And also, hey, stages, we don't have to have a stage caution. We can have. I've been saying for a while. I think I like the idea of stages. We don't have to necessarily have a stage caution.
Well, and we had the right idea at those road courses, and everyone's like, well, the racing sucks. And immediately NASCAR's like, oh, it's the stages. That's what you need. No, the car sucked.
If they wreck because they're stressed out about getting that last stage point, then that's a natural caution. So be it.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, like, people be like, well, if you get rid of stage yellows, there'll be more cautions during green flag racing. Well, there'll be more on average sheer volume of green flag racing. There will be more green flag laps just on average. Some races will be more caution, just they fall the whatever way. And some races there's going to be a lot less. And I think that the stage yellows are outdated in a simple sense that at the time that they were instituted, the majority of commercials were done, especially in the first half to 2/3 of a race, were done full screen. Now we're having double box commercials for stage yellows. And that just makes no sense to me. Why do I need to see an aerial shot of Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 1.5 minutes under commercial? If they get spread out, so be it. I don't care. That's racing. We're here to watch racing, not cautions. On top of that, I think you do double-pronged approach here. You get rid of the stage yellows and you shorten up the ones we have now. We don't need to run 8 to 12 lap cautions for a single car spin at Kansas. We don't have to do these kind of things. There's ways that can quicken it up, and that way we don't have to talk about the lap part. Like, that was like everyone complaining about, like Denny Hamlin complaining about Nashville being too many laps. It's 400 miles. It's fine. With the North Wilkesboro one, 450 laps, and it was still well under 3 hours. Which, by the way, for people complaining like, oh, look how short the NFL is compared to us, NASCAR races on average are only about 4 to 6, maybe 7 minutes sometimes longer on average per year than NFL games are now, which is a stark contrast to 10 to 15 years ago when NASCAR races were 3 hours, 40 minutes on average. Like Daniel Cespedes has a really good chart with this. Yeah. So I don't think we really have that much of an issue. The stage yellow part, that would be, I think, NASCAR's version of the pitch clock if you're looking at time length. Don't get rid of laps.
And I think that's a good comparison because, like, the pitch clock, it sped up baseball without really taking any plays or any innings away. So I think by shortening up cautions, stage cautions, keeps as much racing, but gets us to the action faster. And I think that's extremely important.
Yeah.
Because I ran the numbers today, and like on average this year, we're only a few minutes over 3 hours, the average cup race. So you shave some caution laps off, boom, you're right at 3 hours. Nice package, TV window, on par with other major sports. I think most people could digest that. We'll run through this real quick before we get into our fun segments. Sports Business Journal, Adam Stern had an interesting piece this week, some stuff from Steve O'Donnell, just a ton of like business of NASCAR stuff. I'll break the fourth wall for a moment. I'm kind of looking at a wall of text right here, and considering we're at 2 hours already, I don't think I'm going to go through everything that was said by Steve or by Stern in this. But I did find a couple things interesting, notably ticket sales so far this year across all NASCAR venues are up 9% year over year. That tracks. We've seen a lot of sellouts this summer in particular. I also thought it was interesting looking ahead to the next TV deal. This deal ends in 2031, but 2032 and beyond, it sounds like NASCAR is already thinking of ways to tweak the schedule. I don't know. I got some noise that maybe even the traditional 38 race schedule we have now, maybe that changes to some degree. You know, that I felt like I got the impression reading through this that just about anything was on the table regarding schedule, media partner, how that breaks down, venues. There's talk of, again, different markets, you know, others in the US, some international, Canada, Mexico, England, Middle East comes up, of course, because there's money out there, I guess. Or is there still? I don't know. The Live Tour, didn't that dissolve or something like that? I'm not sure what's going on now, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess like I said, I'm kind of looking at a wall of text. We tried our best to like bullet point out some of these stories, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to break it down now. What do you think, Jared? What stands out to you?
Well, I mean, one of the things that Steve O'Donnell even brought up, was it earlier this year or end of last year, that like we could have maybe more points races. So maybe they get rid of one of these non-points ones. But he also brought up that it's like, we're not, you know, we won't be forever married to 36 points races. And that was after they talked about too, that they had trouble selling the 10 races in the summer till right at kind of the end line of what they needed, getting Prime right across the finish line, getting TNT. I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at less points races starting in 2031, especially if the amount of race or the amount of viewership and money coming in is still lower from advertisers, from viewers, from that side of it. I know people wouldn't like to see that, but that could be a way that happens to compact the schedule too. They've talked about that. They've also talked about there could be more. We could have 40 points races at some point. That's been talked about, but they'd have to do probably midweek races. But one of the things that caught my eye is down here towards the bottom that Ben Kennedy might only be a few years away now from being handed the keys of CEO, according to Adam Stern.
Keeping it in the family. that won't be long. Yeah.
It's like the Habsburgs.
I like Ben Kennedy, although I did just call maybe his crowning achievement a failure. So
we're never getting him on the show.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I like Ben Kennedy, but I mean, yeah, he kind of hung his hat on the LA Coliseum. It was really cool for 2 years, and then it was kind of a flop. So I don't know. I think Ben Kennedy's young, fresh, got a lot of good ideas. I think there's a lot of momentum behind him. I think he'd be good for the sport, but again, I'd hesitate anyone thinking any new CEO is going to come in and fix everything, you know what I'm saying, or make everything the way you want it. That's just not realistic. It's a business full of compromises and trying to please 12 different people at once. It's a tough deal, but I do find the schedule stuff, next media deal is going to be very interesting. Just please, less cable races. Cable may not even really be a thing in 2032. I hope NASCAR is prepared for that world, that reality. Yes, we can move on. We've got just a couple segments left, gentlemen. It's our fun segments. We don't have a race preview this weekend because there is no race on Sunday. So we can jump right into our prediction segment.
We can imagine there's a race. We can just pick random people.
I think Cole Custer gets it done on Sunday.
Oh, hey, we're not doing this in order. We got the weather. I mean, we got Dallas, Fort Worth.
Oh, that's my weather. That's where oh man, it's hot as hell here. Goodness gracious.
And we got Nashville.
Hey, oh yeah, no fishing. Sorry, Danny.
We actually have a full-on forecast like write-up from meteorologist Jeff Bork if you guys are even interested in hearing it.
I mean, I feel like I could see that it's gonna be wet where y'all are, and it's gonna be hotter than hell where I am. I
Yeah,
guess that's about the
it's
summertime.
we'll pass on that. But hey, give a follow to our buddy Jeff Bork. He's he's in the process of trying to find a new full-time weather role right now. So in the meantime, he's still been supporting us and giving us our weekly forecast, including for us locally this week in the off week.
Yeah, big deal. Good stuff. But now it is time for our prediction segment and accountability segment. We'll start with holding ourselves accountable, I suppose. Or how do we do? What's the order? Jared, do you have the graphic? Do you tell it? Would we explain the rules first?
Yeah, I'll pop them on screen for you. You can
Every
read it off.
week we make 2 predictions, racing related. We also keep track in our accountability sessions.
JGR withdrew the lawsuit allegation, or at least some of the allegations, according to Bob Pockris.
Oh, I saw that right before we went live. They withdrew one of their allegations. It was the one of you have it up in front of you. It was the one. It's like they're like that Gabe Hart's doing the same job at Spire that he was at JGR. I think they maybe are dropping that part of the lawsuit.
That was a pretty big. That was a pretty big pillar.
It is, and I haven't had a chance to dive into it, but I also don't know how much there is to dive into besides that line right there. So, I'm all fucked up. So we're predictions and accountability.
They withdrew the one of the allegations that was a pillar of their lawsuit. So that'll be big.
Yeah, well, the case is scheduled for January. The trial is scheduled for February 1st. February 1st.
Yeah, leading right into speed weeks.
So yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, go for it.
It's funny that they withdrew the lawsuit. Just to put us back on screen because we're not even talking about the accountability right now.
They withdrew the allegation in one of the biggest allegations. Yeah,
I think it's wild that they would do that this week. When if you listen to Denny's show this past Monday, he took several shots at Spire and called them an alliance, a JGR alliance team, and made comments about how they're running better at places he's run better at, and it's made alluded to Gabe Hart. So like Spire's had a great season. They're qualifying great. I mean, they're literally right behind the Gibbs. Host Far's right behind the Gibbs cars in points. And now JGR is like, well, I guess we can't prove Gabe Hart's actually helping them this year. So I don't know. That's the part of the lawsuit I'm surprised they would drop.
It's gonna get real quiet. I think on Accidents Detrimental. I think he's not supposed to actually be hosting this week, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah, probably good to take a week to regroup, I guess, if you're him.
Anyway,
sorry, back to the accountability segment. We're each going to make predictions. We keep track every week. We try to keep our predictions concise and contained. Let's start the accountability session. Jarrett didn't have anything come off the board this week. I went 1 for 2. I said Zilich will not finish top 10 or better in points in 2026. Yes, because in the preseason, a lot of folks thought he was going to be top 10 in points. I said no. That sounds like a layup now. It wasn't a layup. I might have made that prediction last year, to be honest.
It was your oldest one.
You were probably hoping he'd be better than where he's at, though.
I did think he'd be better than where he's at, but I was not, some people thought he was going to have a generational rookie year. I was like, no. Larson will get a top 5 at Indy for the 3rd year in a row. Nah, he ruined that. So thank you, Kyle. So I went 1 for 2. Danny went 0 for 1, said Gibbs would. Wait, I think I had that prediction too. No, I didn't make that prediction on the show. I had a prediction on one of my other segments.
To be fair for Ty Gibbs, thanks for proving me wrong because you are killing it now.
Yeah, no, I think Ty Gibbs has proven a lot of the skeptics wrong this year. I mean, he missed the playoffs last season, and now he's 4th in points. That's an insane turnaround. All time, Jared has a 60% accuracy number. I'm at 46. Danny's at 34, and I think that order is the same for this season. If we just focus on
that was this season.
I'm sorry, that was this season. This is all time. Jarrett's at 40% correct. I'm at 34. Danny at 32%. Let's try to improve on those numbers this week, gentlemen. Jarrett, you start us off.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put it at this. I think Connor Zilich will have more than 10 DNFs this year. He has 8. A lot of times at the end of the year, people either get more or speed up. I think that he's going to get more than 10.
Okay. All right. I'll stick with Connor Zilic. I think they will announce Zilic to the 48 before the end of this year.
Okay.
Like it might be for 2028, but by the end of this calendar year, they will have already announced that that's happening.
Kind of like
kind of like Reddick in RCR or and 2311.
well, I was gonna say more like kind of like Casey Kane, where it was announced he'd go to the 5, and he still had to have that year in between of Red Bull.
Yeah, that too.
Alex Bowman will end his career with double-digit wins after 2027. He's at 8, so he needs 2 more.
Okay. Jarrett, your final prediction?
Denny Hamlin will have over 70 career cup wins when he retires next year.
He's at what, 64, 3? 63, 60,
somewhere in there, yeah. I think
something like that. Okay. I will, this one's a little random. I will say, Ford has kind of been out of O'Reilly in and out this year. I think Ford will be back in O'Reilly next season with at least one full-time team.
I'm keeping it on theme and on brand for me. Alex Bowman will drive the number 55 in the 2027 Daytona 500.
I like it. You're putting a number on
it.
That's good. Good stuff. Well, chat, stay tuned. We will follow up on these predictions as the days, weeks, and months go by.
They're picking 64. That's their pick to win. What's going on there?
That's the amount of wins Denny has.
Okay.
They're fact checking us in real time. We
I
appreciate
kind
it.
of forgot why they would be saying that number.
Chat, can't look at you for the next few minutes because it's time for Random Driver of the Week. Jarrett's going to try to stump us with clues. Danny and I are going to hide the chat, not look at our phones. We're going to rely on the strength and power of our own human memories to try and pull these facts from the deepest depths of our minds. Jarrett.
Our imagination. Actually, no, that would not help us in this case.
There we go. We made it. 2 hours in, we got our SpongeBob reference. Good job, Danny. You promised and you delivered.
So Danny leads 47-43 over Eric right now, and with 3 of the last 5 with Ty Dillon, Regan Smith, Kevin Harvick, Eric with Blake Cook, and Red Byron.
Shout out to Brandon in the chat. As I'm going to hide it, I see him say, "Bye, chat. I like to participate too." LOL. Good luck, Brandon. Good luck. Hopefully you get it before we do.
Also, I will do a full audit of random drivers this week just to make sure I don't reuse them more because people get irrationally angry about that. So sorry. So if we do one this week that we've used before, I don't know, I might actually be trolling you for all I care. But these guys, if they don't answer them in that long, who's really the one you should be angry at that point? Just saying. Actually, have we used this one? Let me double check the list. I'll know for sure.
Who is it? I'll check.
No, I'll check. Okay. No, that's why. Okay. No, we have not. At least not on the list. All right. Are you ready? They're all in there like struck a race. This random driver was name dropped in a 2023 Hardy song.
Hardy? Oh, okay.
Hardy.
Yeah. I was thinking of the freaking fast food restaurant for a second. I'm so out of touch.
I do too. Don't worry. This random driver has the second highest amount of nationally touring starts in NASCAR history.
Wow. Okay. It's a hell of a fact.
This random driver is a native of Lakeland, Florida. Florida man.
Okay.
This random driver ran much of his career in a self-funded race car.
And he's got the second most national starts of all time. That's impressive.
This random driver has 4 career Cup Series wins.
That's insane. That many races, mostly self-funded, only 4 wins.
My mind's going everywhere. Okay.
This random driver's 4 Cup wins came with 4 different race teams.
Oh, man. Oh, golly. I bet the chat's already got. I bet Brandon already has it. Shout out Brandon. I'm sure he's already figured it out. Give him the point this week.
This random driver once had Dale Earnhardt Jr. fill in for him.
Oh, that's got to be a dead giveaway for you, Danny. I don't. Oof.
Dale
Maybe
Jr.
not.
filled in for him.
Yes.
Oh, it's probably like early on in his career, and I don't know.
It'd be like late 90s. I don't know.
This random driver's
doesn't even mean it's Cup. It could be lower series for all we know.
Oh,
this
yeah, that's true.
This random driver's highest Cup points finish was 15th. This random driver has 16 career O'Reilly Series wins.
Nice.
But was winless in 70 truck starts.
Tough.
This random driver actually only finished 32 of 70 truck starts.
Damn. That must have been the self-funded part of their career. I don't know.
This random driver is an O'Reilly Series champion.
Oh, who is this? Oh, this is killing me.
This random driver ran in Chevrolets, Fords, Dodges, Toyotas, Pontiacs, and Buicks.
Oh my God, Buick.
You two have tweeted about this random driver twice, while I have not tweeted directly about this random driver before.
Oh,
Who on earth? I'm not doing good right now.
This random driver was both known for not finishing races and qualifying really well.
qualifying well, but not finishing races.
Is it Joe Nemechek?
Joe Nemechek.
Correct.
Oh, front row Joe.
I was kind of thinking that, but yeah.
The most prolific starting Parker and one of the greatest qualifiers.
If we had got the numbers, I think I would have gotten it there.
The 01, I would have been like, hit the buzzer.
Yeah, I had let's see. I had 4 left. I had this random driver. It's the same first name as his father and grandfather, the numbers, and then once flipped at Nashville Super Speedway and has a son that's a full-time Cup racer.
He didn't even drive that 01 that long, but when I think of the I think of the 01 Army car, I don't even really think about Mark Martin. I think of Joe Nemechek.
That's who I grew up as the 01 Army car. It was always front row Joe, and
yep.
Let me see if it can pull up on my end.
I'm trying to see if Brandon. I'm scrolling back to see if Brandon figured it out, and I'm not sure that he did. I'm not sure. I think we might have beat him to it. Sorry, Brandon.
Can you name?
Oh no, he says I got it on the first clue. Good job.
Can you name the 4 teams he won for in Cup?
Hendrick was one.
Yep, Hendrick was one.
Did he win one for Sabco?
For Felix Sabatis, yes. Okay. So that's 2 of them. So you're leaving out 2 more wins.
Did he win? Did he race for Roush?
He did not win one for Roush.
I'm trying to remember who else he would have driven for.
Well, you got
Andy Petrie.
Hendrick, Andy Petrie, yep.
Oh,
and Felix Sabatis, and then the other one. Yeah, just talking.
He won in the 01. It was Ginn, right?
Well, it turned into Ginn, MB2.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, that was him.
But that's a fun one. It was a fun one.
Yeah, that was a good one. The qualifying, and I knew he was from Florida. It took me a minute.
Hardy mentioned Joe Nemechek in a song.
Yeah. Hold on.
Did he rhyme?
pull
What
it
did he
up.
rhyme it with? Nemechek yourself.
The country singer Hardy references former NASCAR driver Joe Nemechek in his song 3006. The lyric, "She took it out of my truck, drove it off like Joe Nemechek."
Out of any NASCAR driver you can mention, why Joe Nemechek?
Maybe he's a real fan.
Damn. Yeah, that's how you're like, I'm not a poser. I really know my stuff. I'm spotlighting Joe Nemechek.
Drove off like Paul Menard.
And then it's Hardy also uses fast driving NASCAR. Okay, so yeah, it's just he uses NASCAR references. But yeah, when I saw that was immediately where I'm like, all right, time to go down the Joe Nemechek rabbit hole.
Comments are killing me, man.
Oh gosh,
Says that doesn't rhyme.
A.B. King, maybe she wrecked the truck.
No, she only ran it about 10 miles.
Jeez. All right. Well, that was I'm glad I got on the board. I feel like I've been mostly more miss than hit the last few weeks. So I'll take whichever ones I can get. I think we're into the final. We have no race preview, like I said, so we're into the final Super Chat stage break, the Super Chat cool down lap, if you will. Appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. This has been a fun show. We still got some fun comments and questions to react to. But before we wrap things up, a quick reminder that next week, Wednesday night, we will be, through my pen, we'll be on Danny B's channel at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That is August 5th. So if you're not subscribed to Danny B, you can click his name down in the description as well. Do what needs to be done, and we'll see you there.
If you're listening to us after the fact, we have already collabed this, and you can see all of our channels popping up,
including the NWP Clips channel, which we'll do our little fun Q&A thing on Monday
Night. Stay tuned, folks. We will be answering all of your questions,
we
exposing
might get
all of our
wild and
deepest,
goofy that night.
Our deepest, darkest secrets will be spilled because that channel only has 1,000 subscribers. So we can kind of let loose a little. Yeah. Just kidding, but not really. Stay tuned. You never know.
We'll see
what could happen when we're live. Final Super Chat stage break. We left off here. Mofo says, fix the stupid car. Track is fine. Supposed to be challenging. Stop the gaslighting. Indy was peak in the 90s and 2000s. I mean, if we can turn the car back to how it was in the 90s and 2000s, it'd fix a lot of racetracks, but I'm not sure we'll be able to turn back the clock quite like that. We can do our best. Jeffrey King says, Heim is similar to Jimmy Johnson. Talent, clean, and calculated. It's a good comparison. I like that. Dragonis Prime says, speaking of weird Heim and Foyt connections, specifically with Indy, look at Foyt's IndyCar win count. Does he have 67 career IndyCar wins? Because if that's the case, that's insane. I'm going to fall out of this chair. Chat, you guys can fact check that for us. From Jay here. Also, Bowman announcing his retirement makes me feel bad creating the talent memorial.
As you should.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel bad for instigating that.
It's all right. It's all right. Matt, good to see you. Sort of embarrassing that the Weenie 500 put on a better show than the Cup Series.
More side-by-side racing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
60. He has 67 IndyCar wins. I was going to fall out of my chair, but my mic would get unplugged, so I'm not going to do it. I don't want to make a mess in here, but that is crazy. What a connection. Batha says 3 words for the Cup IndyCar problem: O'Reilly car. I mean, or we could just put restrictor plates on the Cup car. It's basically the same thing. I don't know. From Hank here says, consistently watching the ticker, I counted 3 passes in the top 10 all race. Despite what some say, Indy was never this bad prior to the Gen 7/550 Gen 6. I mean, I agree. It was never amazing. Oh, maybe in the 90s it was amazing. I wasn't around. It's never been amazing, but it's never been worse other than maybe 2008 for very different reasons. Matt, fantastic, says, how much cash to put some PJ1 on the bricks? Oh, no. Roger's got enough money. He won't allow that to happen. Where are we at? Joke says, that was a very frustrating race as a Bubbles fan. My God, that was irritating. I don't want to wait forever for him to win. I was disappointed.
I just realized that guy on Twitter can now start telling people it's been 1 year since Bubba Wallace last won.
Oh, that is true. I was disappointed that Bubba wasn't more competitive this past weekend. He really was never in the mix. Fandom Empire says Ramin and Brakehard both teased clarity on the Dodge front in a week or so. Brakehard says he thinks they figured out their engine, but he also called it something you would read in a Hollywood script. Thoughts? I'll have to go find this clip for myself.
Surprise! Days of Thunder 2 is about Dodge.
Sounds on brand.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly they have a knack for the theatrics this go around with the race for the seat and what's his face, what's that, Dana White and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Indy Carson says, hey, Eric, I give you credit for finally not including Hendrick in your power rankings. It's a miracle, fans, that this ever happened. Okay, all right. I feel like I'm pretty fair. I'm not like a fanboy over here. From Elijah says, on the plus side, I was able to take a nap during the race. I was exhausted from moving out of my apartment that weekend, slept 9 to 10 hours after. Whew. Work well done. You deserve a rest after that, Elijah. Moving in the summer. I don't know where you're moving from, but moving in the summertime, that's a grind. That's a grind. Appreciate Indy Carson again. Says, hey, Eric, happy 19th year today since you attended Stewart's last Indy win in 07, which was on July 29th. Crazy. I went 5 years later on the same date in 2012 and saw Jimmy Johnson win his last Indy race. I don't know if it's on my shelf. I used to have I had a really cool printed souvenir ticket from the 2007 Brickyard 400. I had on my shelf for many years. I hope I didn't get lost in one of the moves. I need to go find that. Another one from Dragonis Prime. While I don't think either of them will miss the chase, I wouldn't be shocked if Chase or Larson dropped from the top 10 before the regular season's end. I mean, we did show the standings earlier. There's 30 points separating 5th through 10th. So they could end up 9th and 10th if they don't turn things around. But yeah, I think they'll still be in a decent spot. Continuing on here, a few quick ones from Indy Carson. Hey, NWP, my YouTube profile picture is me appearing on Lucky and Blessed Pagoda TV screen at Indy during Brickyard 400 driver intros in green Kyle Busch 2015 championship hat. I love that. It's hard to zoom in on our screen, but yeah, you can see him in there. Then adds trucks at IRP. No other track I can get so close to trucks going by me like wind blowing from the fence. O'Reilly, another first-time winner at Indy. His dad is from my state of Wisconsin. Cool deal there. And then finally, Cup, happy for Heim time to see Indy have another classic storybook ending, even though I picked Hamlin and Bell to win it. Hope you had fun out there, Indy Carson. Appreciate the support. Milo says Heim winning has greatly overshadowed the fact that Herbst has had a pretty solid season compared to last year. It has been better. We've talked about it. He's had some top 10, top 15 runs. He's been better. Still, I think it's fitting for him to move on, and if he ends up at Legacy, that's probably a good situation for him. From Chuck Whiskey, Eric, favorite Kenseth scheme? He's my goat also. My man, Chuck, I appreciate that. 2005 DeWalt. I have it up. You can't see it. It's so small, but this print just above my head, you can see the nose of his car. That's my favorite Kenseth scheme. Kind of had the same scheme in 06 as well, but 05, 06.
What's your take on his Crown Royal days? Did you like those?
They were nice. I thought they were nice. I like the 2011 scheme a little more than 2010. And maybe that's a hot take, but they were nice. It just was awkward because I couldn't, I was 13, 14 years old and I wanted to wear Matt Kenseth merch to school. And you can't, at least my school, probably most schools, you couldn't wear alcohol apparel.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wear my Crown Royal t-shirt.
Am I bad for saying, and I mean this, and no offense to you, Jamie McMurray had better Crown Royal schemes?
His was more iconic. I think it stood the test of time better. Kenseth's schemes almost, especially his 2011 one, it almost looked blue in some of the lighting. It was kind of, I did like his Crown Royal black car he won Texas in. I always thought that looked pretty sharp. Continuing on here. I'll reset. Give me a sec. We will get back to it. Where are we at? Will. Thank you, Jarrett. Should Connor take the 48 or the 25 in 2028?
48.
The 88.
I kind of side with Danny. I think the 88, but between those two, I'd say 48. Don't tell Mike O'Carey that. Indy Carson says, Iceberg, have you ever gone to a NASCAR race at Indianapolis Raceway Park? I'm shocked you think trucks shouldn't race there. Maybe you meant cup race. I don't know, maybe misinterpreted.
No, I during the truck race, I was saying because I find IRP for trucks, because I think O'Reilly should be there, but I find IRP for trucks to be one of the most boring races every year. And I think we could do better. And I think we could have a better standalone race somewhere else, like Milwaukee Mile or probably a dozen other tracks. So I know it's a hot take, but like I said on my stream the other night, people don't come to my stream so that I can tell them exactly what they think. They come to my streams because I give my opinion, even if it's unpopular.
Good deal. I actually like the idea of a Milwaukee race because it's still kind of in the same general region of the country, and the Milwaukee Mile pretty cool track as well. NASCAR John Pork says, Heim time? No, it's porkin' time. Ugh. Kind of disturbing. Beast of Metal says, it's too bad the first race I was able to watch flag to flag since Chicagoland was as bad as a race can be, short of track or tires, imitating U-235 atoms being struck by slow neutrons. Very scientific analysis there, Beast of Metal. But yes, probably the worst Indy race outside of those two that were absolute carnage. Again, from Indy Carson says, Eric, Indy alone is too special for me for NASCAR to leave. Are you crazy that Cup should leave Indy? Well, I didn't say, I said they shouldn't leave. I just said they need to make it better. I've got over 100 autographs at Indy since I started attending oval races every year since 2012. That's awesome. Great fan experience. Get up close, especially close to the pagoda. From Rocks Reviews says, yo, Eric, Jarrett, and Danny, it's been a while since I caught a live stream. I think the last time we caught you all live was 2024 when Truex was still racing. Hasn't been that long.
Been a while.
I feel like I've seen y'all in the comments sooner than that, but maybe that is the actual comments, not the live chat. So it's great to see y'all. Great to see you here live. Beast of Metal again says, re-practice. Brock Beard noted the entire bottom 5 at Atlanta suffered problems that would have been found, maybe even fixed with real practice time. Which I'm glad that there's going to be close to a full hour of practice at most tracks next year. That's that's a step in the right direction. Again, from Indy Carson, really appreciate the support tonight. I've seen 23 drivers win a Cup race live, 12 at Indy. I've seen 21 drivers win a Busch race live, 10 at Indy. I've seen 19 drivers win IndyCar race live. I think I know why your name's Indy Carson. Indy Carson versus NASCAR Carson. Very, very proud of your Indianapolis roots. Respect that. Honda Tech Tip. Eric, you need a P.O. box again? I have a die-cast in a box I've been wanting to send you for 3 years. It's a Kenseth car. Ooh. Yeah, might have to bring the P.O. box back in the not-so-distant future because I don't know that I'll do like a fan mail segment, but I get a lot of like interesting comments and requests, and I'm like, I probably need a P.O. box just for special cases at the very least. So stay tuned. Beast of Metal again says, also 2311's exorbitant compound and eye-bleeding charter valuations together show teams will spend money no matter what. Better it go on the track than shady construction firms or Kaufman's what are we getting? Where are we? We're all off in the weeds here, Beast of Metal. I appreciate the detailed references, but I'm going to move on to the next one here from Indy Carson again. Says, Danny B, cherish these times like I did with Gordon, Stewart, and Truex retiring in the past. I'm surprised you don't want to be a fan of Chase Briscoe since he's not afraid to share his faith and testimony.
Hey, I love that about Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, I love that about Chase Briscoe.
You know, with what I do for my full-time job, you know, I'm hoping there'll be more chances to interact with him in that capacity. And but no, I like I said, I think professionally it's the best thing for me.
Dragonis again says, I'll pound this drum, Bowman to the 48 pit box. That's a crew chief? Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Can't be any worse than what he's doing with her now. I mean.
From Brandon says, I remember immediately thinking of Danny when watching Bowman's first win in person at Chicagoland. I hope Alex has a nice retirement after 2027.
I hope he enjoys it too.
Ryan Idiot says it's pretty clear Justin Marks is focused on the new shiny thing, MotoGP. So that's where where that leaves Trackhouse's NASCAR team is leaning not positive IMO. I still don't know how much I buy into the whole, their attention is split between too many different things. That's, they're not pouring enough into one or the other. Like, I don't know if I buy into that necessarily, but, I don't know. The on-track performance in Cup, I guess, speaks for itself. Something's obviously not right. From official Jay Fendi, Larson to Ferrari in 2030. Greatest driver in the world, can put that to the true test, I guess. Calypso, 250 likes reached, fairgrounds saved for a week. Hopefully longer than that. But yeah, thank you all for hitting the like button. From Jonah, from Jonah's Stuff. Where would Ally go if Zilich brought Red Bull to Hendrick? Also, should Bubba Wallace be considered in danger considering Iowa and New Hampshire aren't great for him and Daytona is Daytona? Jarrett, you kind of said that you feel like Bubba might be one of the least safe above the cut line, despite being 14th in points. And then I tend to agree in some ways. He's been kind of right on that edge, like you also said, was on that graphic. So we'll see if he can close it out. As far as Ally, I don't know. Ally's deal, if I recall, goes through 2028. So they would play a role in whoever the next driver is, most likely. But
They could probably repackage some stuff where they actually get a few different drivers potentially.
Maybe. Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
They
Yeah, we
could get the whoever the Bowman replacement is primarily, and then hey, hop on a race or two if Kyle Larson, hop on a race with Chase Elliott, hop on a race with a Spire guy for all we know.
hop on a race with William Byron because that boy's had some rough paint schemes this year, if I can be honest. G-Man, appreciate the generous super chat. For Indy, I think Hamlin made some good points they should try. Eliminate the rear diffuser and underbody aero, increase the rear height of cars and lower the front. Could try a 900 horsepower and low horsepower momentum type, do a test session. I mean, yeah, throw anything you can at it. I do like that Denny's very engaged with NASCAR on the aero and just trying different packages out. I do appreciate that, but stuff costs money, and we know NASCAR and the manufacturers are hesitant to throw too much money, in the hopes of something being a little bit better. So we'll see. Hopefully they try something. Again from Jonah says, ARCA East is racing this weekend at Flat Rock and IMSA is at Road America. And I'll be tuned into those, or at least I'll be tuned into IMSA. I don't know about ARCA East. Maybe I'll check in for a minute. I'll check out some of the IMSA race. Road America is an awesome track. Love to be back there in the summertime at some point. MJT Zombie says, if Hendrick gets Connor and Corey Day continues to get better, what happens to Byron? Oh, I don't know. I think he's winless this season, but I think Willie B is going to have another winless season or two for us to talk about him truly being on any sort of hot seat. I think he's been top 5 in points 2 or 3 years in a row now. I think he's earned himself a little longer leash than that, but we shall see. We're in the home stretch, gentlemen. From Brandon again, says semi off topic, but the Goodyear blimp flew over the town I work in on Monday, and I don't work on Mondays. I missed it. Well, hopefully you're able to get to a race, Brandon, because I've seen the Goodyear blimp at the track a couple of different times this year. It keeps making some appearances.
Pretty cool. Maybe I'm the only one of us who's a nerd like this. Download the flight, like a Flight Radar 24 or any kind of flight radar app like that, because you can see if something like the Goodyear blimp is anywhere near you. I actually see right now there is a British Airways flight about to fly over my house right now.
Hello, governor.
And it's leaving Nashville on its way back to London right now. But I see some cool stuff on there. I looked up its flights and knew what time it was coming in. I saw the Southwest 1776 special paint library they put out. Saw it fly directly over my house a couple days ago.
Oh, that's awesome. I love seeing some of the special Southwest wraps.
Yeah, they're very cool. They're my favorites.
I've not seen that one, though. That's pretty cool. Ross Crash Stain, what about the short track package at Indy? Low downforce and 750 horsepower. Also, I can't call the Brickyard a crown jewel when the racing product was more akin to a plastic rhinestone on a Nashville tiara. What a very visceral comparison. Yeah.
Sorry, can I say one more thing? You talk about the flights and stuff. I actually saw Air Force 2 a couple weeks ago fly over my house.
Oh,
I saw it on a Friday, randomly parked at Nashville Airport over on the back side of it. And then a couple days later, I saw it flying back over my house. I guess they have a few different variations of it. So it was just like one of the extras. It was just going back into Nashville. It wasn't actually the VP.
That's still pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Napa Racing Fan says, weird press week. Bell never saw Days of Thunder. I did see that. Dixon, Napster and Cup races. Trotta has a dumb tweet. Kyle Petty says Indy isn't a crown jewel. Yeah, I probably could go on from there. Poor Jeff Gluck was getting dragged in his replies, and I didn't think his take was that crazy, but some folks didn't want to hear it. Yeah. Provide us plenty of talking points this week, so we appreciate that at least. From David Bell, hope everyone has a great weekend, and sends extra love to you, Danny B. Hopes you're doing well.
Oh yeah, hey, because of my driver. That's what that is. Thank you, David.
Appreciate that. Final ones here. Beast of Metal. One more piece of Nemechek trivia. He held the record for last place cup finishes from March 30th, 2014, and McDowell's lap 16 crash on June 28th, 2020. So most lap from 2014 to 2020. So I guess in 2020, does McDowell now hold the record for last place finishes? I'd be surprised, but maybe not.
McDowell was a starting. He was a starting Parker.
He was a starting Parker for a while. So no, actually, that would actually add up. All right. Mofo Prada says, what's your take on Kyle saying Indy isn't a crown jewel? Everyone who's won it calls it a crown jewel, and those who haven't, Hamlin, Briscoe, Logano, also call it a crown jewel. It's still a crown jewel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, like I said, I don't really get excited for it as a fan, but the drivers and teams obviously do. So I respect that. And, I think if they want to win it, they're the ones competing. So if they call it a crown jewel, I think their voice carries the most weight.
Some people say there's 4 crown jewels. I always say there's 5. Daytona 500, Coke 600, Southern 500, Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis, and only because it's Indianapolis. And if I have to get rid of the Brickyard 400 for one, it's the Bristol Night Race. That's a crown jewel in my opinion.
I agree. I think the Bristol Night Race is our alternate. It's the 6th man coming off the bench, ready to sub in at a moment's notice. And finally, from Kiwi Nick says, I get the sense that both the 1 and 88 have pretty similar setups, whereas the 97 have gone down their own different path. Ross has said a few times he can't drive the car SVG drives. It is interesting when you have 3 drivers with 3 pretty different backgrounds. That does potentially call for 3 different setups. That might be part of what's hurting them as a whole, that they can't share notes as reliably maybe as other teams. It's an interesting theory. I appreciate the comment. And we got one final one here from Nicholas. Getting married soon. I believe you guys are all married. What did the 3 of you do for your bachelor parties? Looking for ideas. Thanks. This is a fun one to wrap up on.
Eric, you're really the only one of us who had a true bachelor party. Like me, when I was getting married, I was in car sales at the time, so I didn't really have a lot of free time to do stuff like that. Me and one of my car sales managers, Blake Bratcher, and one of the finance guys, Nick Wright, there at Bowman, we drove down to Talladega and at the fall race of 2019. That was my bachelor trip, and was having a fun. Was having a fun time. They got me a pair of cowboy boots, which sadly I couldn't fit into. I don't know why. They were my shoe size, but I did not fit inside these boots, unfortunately. But it was a very rainy race. It got delayed. Only got to see a little bit of it, and then it got finished up on Monday. So it didn't really do much really for my bachelor event. Jarrett, you didn't have anything, did you?
No, Riss and I got just married in private, and then we're going to do a bigger ceremony at some point, when we're comfortable. But I don't know if I legally can say on air what my plan for my bachelor party is. I will tell you guys after, but
don't telegraph anything. The feds are watching.
Jared's going to go commit war crimes, apparently.
It might involve a crash car or 2. We'll just keep it at that. I'll tell you guys after, but if I can, I'll film it. How about that?
All right. Okay. As for me, Nicholas, these 2 were both there. We went out to the Smoky Mountains for a couple days, went to Dollywood, hung out in the mountains, rented a nice cabin that was pretty chill, played video games and other such. It was just a good guys weekend. I think we had 6 or 7 of us total. It was a good time. Fun, chill. It was cold. It was just before Christmas time, so it took in that crisp, chilly, mountainous air. It was a fun time. Appreciate the comment, Nicholas. We did.
We don't need to go into that.
The hot tub was nice. The hot tub was nice to check out when it was so cold.
We were all risking athlete's foot.
We did all try to squeeze into a very small hot tub.
There might have been some alcohol consumed before that decision was made.
I was completely sober. That was I do crazy shit sober, and I'm more chill drunk.
And this is the kind of conversations we can have on our fun stream on Monday night on the NWP channel.
We'll explain what happened nothing happened in the hot tub. Nothing. It
became a time machine, and then we went back.
But it is a running joke. I do crazier stuff sober than drunk. These guys have been around me drunk. The most crazy I'll be is I'll have a little too many. Usually I'm just chill on the couch feeling like, man, what a great day. You guys are great. I have that prescription from SNL, a couple of beers.
The best was your sim racing on the SRX game after the Texas All-Star race.
Still better than that All-Star race. That's still better quality.
Well, we appreciate the support.
This was NWP way after dark.
Yeah, we're getting there. Congratulations, by the way, Nicholas. Appreciate the super chat. Really appreciate everyone supporting the show tonight and sticking with us here late on. Again, we're going into an off week. Y'all don't have to be here. This is we had 2 off weeks a year. This is really the only true off weekend where, other than Arca East, there ain't much happening. You don't have to be here, but you are, and we appreciate that.
Hey, I just remember something. It is going on. I'm sure a lot of people in the chat probably excited for this. Happy Spider-Man week for all who celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be going tomorrow night. My theater had sold out of all their good times after work. There was only one seat or way in the front. I'm not about to go watch Spider-Man looking like this theater. But then they opened up a 6:45 time slot that wasn't there, and I found 2 seats right beside each other. So me and Claudia are going to go watch Spider-Man tomorrow night so I can see it before all the spoilers hit Twitter.
With great power comes great responsibility. And so with the power of seeing it before we will, please do not spoil it in our group chat. I appreciate that. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. Till next time.
Drivers, start your engines!
Be plenty of carnage. Full head on them. Wound up. Yeehaw, boys. Holy. It's a junkyard. Spend too much time hitting people. Chill a second. No gas, gotta hang off here. Don't overdrive. Just let me do my job. 10 times. I don't care if I wreck the whole field. I'm over him. He's just a moron. That was an absolute bullshit. Not clear. Awesome. I tell you, Mama ain't raised no. What the f*** are you doing out here? People are saying, just racing like idiots. I don't care. Just let me drive. What is he doing?
This is embarrassing. What a clown show. Did you ever think you would see